Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to the Nintendo Select podcast. I'm your host, BoTalksGames, joined as always by Tucker Hazel. Tucker, how are you doing on this beautiful Thursday morning? Not recording it at a horrible time, as we normally do.
Yeah,
it's a nice 11 a.m. where I'm at. Yeah. How you doing?
I had an interesting morning because I did my last day of what was my current job. I worked at the school library, as I've kind of talked a little bit about, where I had those painful overnight shifts where I just sat there and played Zelda. And I worked my last day of it this morning. I worked a 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. shift, and I just walked out of there like 5 minutes early because I didn't give a fuck, and I'm like, I'm done. And I don't have a specific replacement plan yet, which just shows how woefully unprepared I am for adult life. But it hasn't quite set in that I'm like free of this yet. Because even when I like took a break last summer to like go on some vacations and stuff, it still like felt like, oh, that's weird. I'm supposed to be at the library now because I've been doing it for over 2 years. And now I just don't have to go there again. I'm not obligated to. So I don't know.
Was that your first job?
No. I've had other jobs. I actually worked for a law firm. I was a law firm assistant in high school. It's very strange.
That's so random.
I only was there for like 6 months, but yeah, that's weird. That's an interesting part of Tucker lore. But I'm no longer a librarian, so I can stop cultivating the sexy librarian look that I've been working so hard on the last few years.
All those years of work lost.
Yeah. Yes.
God. Well, congratulations on finishing that, and you finished school last week, right? So
I did. Yes. Oh, I graduated.
You're a free boy.
A lot has changed actually since the last time we recorded.
Yeah.
I played a lot more of Zelda, as we'll get to. I saw my family again because they came in for my graduation, and I'm done with college. I don't have to do a class or that library work anymore. That's been the last 4 years of my life. I mean, essentially, it's been the last entirety of my life, and now I just don't have to do that anymore. That's fucking crazy.
Now you're just gonna do nothing for 8 years.
No. As I said when I graduated, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm done, right? Like responsibility goes downhill.
Exactly.
When you graduate from college.
Yeah, you're pretty.
So I don't have anything to do. Like I'm basically retired at this point, and all I have to do is make sure I pick a time every Thursday and solicit a couple comments from the audience and sit down and talk about video games for 3 hours.
Yeah, no, the Nintendo Select podcast is gonna take off, Tucker. This is gonna be your main job.
Exactly. 100%.
But of course, Nintendo Select podcast. We are now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so listen to us there. Spotify is cool. It also has video, which I don't know anybody that listens to video on Spotify. But I just dropped the MP4 file. It's actually pretty nice.
Cool.
So get us on there, rate us, review us, all that fun stuff. Really appreciate that. And also write in questions. So I have a channel in my Discord. You can write them in there. And normally I'll gather questions there, although the server is not the most active, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah. I like to send messages in the Nintendo Select's channel, and then no one responds to them. And then it's the next week, and you can still see my message in the chat log because no one said anything. And I'm like, it's fucking Tuesday. I need to make sure some people.
Alternatively, I make a community post on my YouTube page every Wednesday before we record, the day before, and that's where we get most of the questions. Or you can leave questions in the comments of this episode. But preferably, best place is definitely the community post that I make every Wednesday. That is the best place, and we will read any questions on the podcast. It literally can be anything. It can be Nintendo related, gaming industry related, whatever it is. So write in.
I've got a great idea, actually. We want the Nintendo Select podcast to take off and be, I mean, it's going to be both of our jobs. It's probably going to fund a couple generations of our progeny.
Yes.
I think we should become the preeminent video content creators for Spotify.
Okay.
Who else is doing it, you know? YouTube, that's old news.
We have to...
Video, nah, fuck that.
Well, we're definitely competing with Joe Rogan.
Like video. Like YouTube.
We're definitely competing with Joe Rogan, yeah.
He's old news too. Don't worry, we're the new hotness.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting thought experiment. I mean, if you are signed up for Spotify, who's to stop us from just uploading like a 10-minute video?
Yeah, exactly.
You could literally just upload regular videos.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so they have a video player. So if you've got an MP4 file and you want to share it somewhere, you can just share it to Spotify. Yeah. You could just use Spotify.
It'll be classified as a podcast, but
sure, why not? Be really inconsistent.
I bet there's someone that does that. They don't even like have. It's not even like a show about like discussing something. It's just like regular videos, and they just upload.
Yeah.
like super edited.
At some point, though, you know it's going to happen. Spotify will have a TikTok/YouTube Short/ Instagram
for
what's the Instagram
podcasts,
version?
Reels.
Yeah, Reels. Yeah, they're going to have their own version of that because everyone does. I'm pretty sure they're also on Facebook. And of course, Snapchat stories. That's where it all began.
Jesus Christ, they're all the
Spotify
same.
will have them too.
This is all the same thing that you just said.
Exactly. Of course they are. Yeah.
I hate it. Do you have TikTok, Tucker?
No. Never used it.
I used to have it, and then I quickly deleted it because I didn't like what it did to my brain.
Yeah.
But then they added it to YouTube, which I need to have, and then I'm pretty good at distancing myself from it. But every once in a while, I'll just be laying in bed, be like, scroll it. It's bad. It's bad for the brain.
What happens to me is I'm not in the TikTok brain because I haven't ever. I mean, I think the app is downloaded on my phone, but only because we uploaded a couple of BLB TikToks at one point. It was a really weird couple days where I made them because we were making YouTube Shorts. And I'm like, I might as well just upload them to TikTok.
No, that's what I did.
And so my brain's not trained to scroll content like that. When I watch a YouTube video, I want to find a YouTube video and sit with it. Like I'm eating my food, I'm doing whatever. I'm consuming this as a part of a meaty chunk of my day, not super passive. But YouTube Shorts, sometimes something will show up that's from a content creator that I like, and I'm like, okay, this is just a very mini version of their content, and I don't mind that. But I don't scroll. I just click on it, and I'm like, that's enough. Maybe one or two back to back every couple days, a little spice in my life. But I don't go into YouTube Shorts rabbit holes, and I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my self-control that I don't do that.
It's a bad place to be. Now something funny did happen right before we started recording, Tucker.
Yes.
I just want to clarify this. I know that no one that saw what I just did will be watching this podcast most likely, but you might have got a notification for it. And this is how my morning's going, I guess. I hate OBS's software. OBS, if you don't know, is open broadcast software. It's basically just how people record stuff on their computer. It's basically the agreed upon way to record stuff, like your screen and face cams and all that. I've used this for probably close to 10 years now, and it's gotten better and gotten worse at times. Yeah, I've been using this since I started doing YouTube. I have always been terrified of hitting start streaming on accident because start streaming is right above start recording. To your they're very close to each other. Somehow I've avoided doing that in all my almost 10 years of using the software. But this morning while getting ready for the podcast, I did in fact hit start streaming. Yeah. But what's weird, Tucker, is that it started streaming using information from a stream I did 10 months ago.
Before the release of Scarlet and Violet.
Yes, the stream title was Pokemon Scarlet.
I have a screenshot. I'll send this to you. Maybe you can put on the thing. But
yeah, well, it's showing up on video right now. Yeah, watch live now. BoTalksGames. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is leaking right now with a thumbnail I made back in November.
Yeah,
I don't know how this happens. Tucker's idea was maybe I accidentally saved it as a default stream, but
that's probably
it was so widespread. The stream that was 2 minutes long had 6 likes, which isn't very much, but it's enough that I'm like, damn, people saw that.
Someone saw it. Yeah, exactly.
And then also someone tweeted at me, "Is the game actually leaking right now?"
Yeah.
So that's how my morning's going.
The interesting thing is, it technically could be. I understand why this person was confused.
Right, they thought it was DLC, yeah.
Yeah, but you also established yourself when that game was releasing as a guy that is very much into covering leaks. You also did that with Tears of the Kingdom. And so if you are starting a stream, holy fuck, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is leaking. It's yeah, I guess it could be the DLC leaking. I mean, we should be getting news about the DLC pretty soon. They said that the first wave of it was supposed to happen in the summer, right? Or is it fall and winter? Okay, so maybe it won't be until August. Yeah,
September.
We start getting news, but leaking could happen at any point.
It's just funny that it happened after all this time, and then I proceeded to immediately hit it again.
Yes, exactly. Well, actually, it didn't send a notification.
Yeah, I think I caught it fast enough.
Yeah.
But it's weird because when I normally with streams, I don't stream very often, but you hit start streaming and then you go on YouTube and hit go live.
Yeah. Not this time.
Yeah, not this time. Not the time that not the one time I actually messed up. But now Tucker, we mentioned 2 weeks ago we were gonna start a new little segment at the start of the podcast, just to kind of warm us up, have a little history lesson. Now I'm a lazy bastard. So you have taken the liberty of, at least for this week, picking this for us. We thought it'd be fun to go over kind of one Nintendo employee or director or just game developer and kind of highlight them, give them a spotlight. Maybe
Yeah.
we won't do it every week, but we thought it'd be a good way to like get people to know, and even ourselves help us learn more about Nintendo's developers, because yes, we have our Miyamotos and our Aonumas and our Sakurais, but I feel like there's less people in the Nintendo ecosystem that you can look to and be like, oh, that person's the director of that game.
Exactly.
It's not like
Barely
Sony Studios or Microsoft Studios where it's very transparent. Nintendo's internal structuring with EPD is very kind of convoluted, so it's hard to like tell who's who.
Especially because of the structure of these smaller groups within the larger groups. Also, they don't have like interesting names.
EPD
They're just like numbered
EPD
versions of EPD, and before that it was EAD and SPD, and then those got merged, so that's a little bit confusing. And then you look at some of like the support teams that also have really generic ass names, and there's like 5 teams of that, and certain leaders that are like making certain aspects of games. This is all information that I learned doing research for this, and I've made a list of a couple that we'll pull from when we end up doing this. I've only gone with directors for now, or at least when I was looking them up, I was looking them up because they were directors of big games. But on the whole, the first person that I went to, because I'm like, oh, I know this guy, and I wanted to learn more about his development history, was, and this is not who we're talking about today, but as an example, was Kosuke Ibuki, who was a big part of when ARMS was releasing. He was at the forefront of promoting that game on the developer side, but he didn't even direct that game. Some other guy
did. I thought he did.
I thought he did too. Yeah, that's
was
why
he
I
a
looked
producer?
it up. Yes, he was executive producer.
He was a badass. I miss it was cool that E3 hype season, just showing up at the ARMS tournament.
Yeah, and he had like the ARMS
he had the sleeves on.
Sweatshirt on. Yeah,
yeah.
Sleeves. Yeah. But he's not even the director. So like that just shows how confused even someone as in the know as you and I are, who we would recognize the name Kosuke Ibuki. We thought that he was a director. One of the few directors I would have told you before that I couldn't name wasn't even the director of the game that I thought he was a director of. Though he did direct Mario Kart 7 and 8, so I think we might eventually get to him.
Yeah,
so
sure.
He did direct very notable games. But what's interesting about Nintendo directors, as I'm discovering, is they've got a really consistent pattern, but at least for the couple that I looked at, where they start as assistants and smaller roles, map designers, level designers, bug testers in smaller teams, sometimes tangential to Nintendo, sometimes in like, small little offshoots of development companies inside of Nintendo. And then they work their way up, and then they become, they usually develop a certain kind of game. So today we're going to be talking about a man named Takayuki Shimamura. You probably won't recognize that name, but you'll recognize a number of the games that he was involved in. He actually started at Capcom helping on the GameCube port of Resident Evil Remake.
Okay.
Which is just an interesting, weird, small thing, but he obviously working with Nintendo to get that game onto GameCube. And then he moved to EAD, which is what their internal development team used to be called, which actually I've written it down what it stands for, Entertainment and Analysis and Development. And then he moved to Nintendo, where he was a system director for Nintendogs. And frankly, and this is going to be some research I would have to do, I don't know jack fucking shit about Nintendogs. I'm aware of it being a thing. Of course, there's the trophy in Smash Bros, but like, I've never played any of those games. I couldn't tell you how many there are. I know it's a DS series. It's something
that's one thing that's weird about Nintendogs, because they would release a game, but then they started doing the Pokemon shit, where it's like, here's Nintendogs plus cats with French bulldogs in it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I actually don't know how many like technical sequels there are. Like I think 3 or 4.
Yeah. This is something we're really gonna have a section on at one point, and I think it'd be really fun to like play on and have a conversation about it. But so system director at Nintendogs. I don't fucking know what a system director does. Through this research, through this segment, we'll eventually learn what each of these roles are, but he did quickly move into directing games. Primarily, his first directorial role, the golf and bowling modes in Wii Sports. And those are probably the two most famous
favorites, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, tennis is definitely up there. But,
of course. Yeah.
Obviously.
But yeah, I mean, that's a big goddamn deal.
Yeah, it's interesting that I don't think I've definitely heard the names. There's a composer in Japan whose last name is Shimamura, I think.
Yeah,
maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Shimamura, or
yeah,
Japanese last names just sometimes overlap.
Yeah, it's a little hard maybe to keep track sometimes. But Takayuki Shimamura is a name I'm not sure I'm familiar with. Starting from Capcom with just the Resident Evil remake, which was 2001 or 2002, I believe.
Yeah.
Going to Nintendo and then within a couple years becoming the director of Wii Sports, one of the most important games of all time. And then going through the list here, director on Flash Focus for DS.
I own that.
Do you actually?
I don't know why. I've never put it in my DS before. I don't know how I came across a complete in-box copy of Flash Focus, but that just like sits. It's like a weird spot in my DS collection. I'm like,
that's one of like the Touch Generations games, right? The little
sure,
orange.
Let's go with it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the little thing. The
yeah.
That,
weird, that was like the this is for old people branding for DS
games. Exactly. It'd be fun to collect those. We'll talk about collecting more at some point, but yeah, I own Flash Focus, and also director, just straight up director, as far as I can tell, of Wii Sports Resort, Nintendo Land, and Wii Sports Club. So like this guy pretty heavily involved with the sort of Blue Ocean software during the Wii and Wii U eras. And DS, I guess.
And yeah, it is interesting to note that at Wii Sports Club, which most people would not think very highly of because it's just Wii Sports, but in HD. That was his last actual directorial role, as far as I can tell. After that, it took a couple years off, it almost looks like, and then switched to being a producer. 2016 with Miitopia, of course, that was developed by that was also EPD, right?
The original Miitopia?
Yeah, on 3DS. I know Grezzo did the Switch port.
Grezzo, yeah, EPD did the original one. Yeah.
Then Ring Fit Adventure, co-producer. Dr. Kawashima's Brain Training for Nintendo Switch, which never came out in America. Still, to this day.
I'm on the. I assume you're also on the same.
I'm on the Nintendo fandom. The fandom.
Yeah,
wiki.
There's not a role given for what he did for Dr. Kawashima's.
Well, based on everything, same with Big Brain Academy, Brain versus Brain. Probably co-producer, since everything else on this list is co-producer, and then most recently Nintendo Sports producer, which makes sense considering his lineage with Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort.
Yeah.
Although in this case he wasn't directing it, he produced it.
Yeah, well, so actually, this is a little bit of a cheat, but it's the first time we're really drilling in. I'm also going to mention the director of Nintendo Switch Sports. We're sort of cover them here together.
Sure.
Yoshikazu Yamashita is when I was looking at his page here on the Nintendo Fandom Wiki.
I've never seen this man. He has like crazy cool white hair.
He's got crazy anime hair. Yeah.
What the hell?
He looks like a fucking like Tokyo Ghoul character.
Yeah, literally. His first game was Mario Artist.
And this guy on the top of his thing, I saw he usually worked with Takayuki Shimomura, and I'm like, who's that? So that's how I found him.
Yeah.
I wanted to look for
like
this guy because
almost.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm talking about together.
Yeah.
He directed also some of the modes in Wii Sports, the baseball and boxing modes. And then he directed the Check Me Out channel.
Yeah, I see that.
Which is interesting. I've actually never used any of the channels other than like just like the Me channel.
I can't remember. The Check Me Out channel was where you could like just view other people's Mii's, wasn't it?
Maybe.
I can't remember exactly. I like the Everybody Votes channel where you
can
use
like, that.
Vote. Yeah, I would fuck around with these ad channels. I'm trying to remember exactly what Check Me Out. Check Me Out channel for Wii was allowed users to enter their Mii characters in online contests as well as share them. So basically, you just rate Mii's.
Contests. What kind of contest?
Yeah, I definitely played with this when I was a kid. I don't remember too much from it, but the Everybody Votes channel, that's what I always enjoyed. It was always just stupid stuff. Like, do you like cheese? Yes or no?
Oh. Yeah, sure. Thanks, Nintendo. But the Yamashita, also, as we said, working alongside Shimomura, directing Wii Sports, Wii Sports Resort, Nintendo Land, which we also talked about for Shimomura, but then singularly directing the classic, Bo's favorite, Nintendo Switch Sports.
Well,
and that's where this whole thing started. I'm like, I gotta bring out the big guns.
That's where. Okay.
I was like, we gotta find out who directed this fucking game.
Thank you, Yamashita, for directing the Switch Sports for me.
It's his fault.
This man's cooking Switch Sports Resort right now. You know he is. Promise.
Oh man, that'd be. Oh man.
It's gonna happen.
Be really interesting.
It's gonna happen.
That'd be really interesting.
Or maybe just Switch Sports 2.
That's gotta be for their next system though.
Yeah, maybe.
It'd be too late in the system's life cycle if it releases 2 years after.
Yeah, that's just the Blue Ocean software that we talk about, right? Yeah. So yeah, that would make sense for the next console. But yeah, I think this is a fun segment, and even just today, I had never heard of either of these people. And it's nice that we're using the Nintendo.fandom.com, obviously, depending on if they have information on people, we won't be using them in the future. But putting a face to a name is very important. Yamashita is a very recognizable face now. Will he ever appear in a direct? Absolutely not. But it's just nice to know. It's just nice to know who's butter my Switch Sports bread, Tucker.
Exactly. Oh, that's a great way to phrase that. Yeah, I was doing some research on other ones. I've already got a few prepared with a nice little paragraph, like sort of summarizing their roles, and then a list of what they directed or worked on in major ways. But then there's a couple that like. So most of them don't have Wikipedia pages, which is the way I found easiest to find out who actually directed the game. You just go to Wikipedia page, it'll show you, developer, Nintendo team, and then director of the game. Most of them don't have Wikipedia pages. That's fine. I copy paste that. I look it up. It usually reroutes me to the Nintendo fandom wiki. But there's still some that don't have Nintendo fandom wiki pages. So I was trying to look up the director of Pilot Wings Resort, and I couldn't. There's no fucking information about this guy. He has a Western name, so I assume he's like an American guy. Maybe he worked for Nintendo America, but there's no. I have no fucking clue who this guy is. There's not a picture of him.
See, that's weird because I think a lot of people would make the jump or conclusion that whoever directed Pilot Wings Resort probably worked on Wii Sports, right? They're very similar. I would assume they would have been developed almost in tandem because they came out kind of close to each other.
Yeah. Or Wii Sports Resort.
Right, yeah, Wii Sports Resort and Pilot Wings Resort, sorry. It was like a year, I think, between them. Actually, yeah, Wii Sports Resort was 2009, I think, so there was a year in between.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, let us know in the comments below. Do you like this segment? I like this segment. This is fun.
Yeah.
Just getting a little history lesson. Maybe not every single week, but just like to ease us in. Get us talking.
I'll jump scare you with it. I won't let you know we're doing it. I'm like, fuck you, Bo, we're doing the director thing.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's fun. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into our news stories. There was a lot of small stuff this week. There was some big stuff as well that we'll be pulling. But let's go ahead and get into the small stories. So this was announced. We had to record a little early last week, so we missed this, although we would have hit it. Well, actually, no, because it was announced late on Thursday night. But we have some new games coming to Switch Online. When you're listening to this, they should be available, or they'll be available later today. I think they updated around like 5 p.m.
New games.
Yeah, new games. So
yeah,
when they announced the GBA games in the last February Direct, they showed all the Mario Advance games, and I was like, oh god, they're gonna trickle these out over months. I'm very happy because they're actually just dropping.
I don't remember there being the little scroll by thing.
Did they not?
I don't know if that's true.
I think they at least showed Super Mario Advance 1.
Yeah. One of them released with it.
Yeah, that was Super Mario Advance 4 because it had the e-reader levels.
Now I'm a Nintendo guy. I know a lot of shit. I don't know the naming convention of these fucking games. It's so convoluted. I don't know if it's worth me like spending the mental resources to like commit this shit to memory.
It's not too bad. So the news is all three, well, of course, Super Mario Advance 4, which is Mario Bros. 3, was already on the GBA thing, on Switch. All four of them are now available, basically.
Yes.
Super Mario Advance 1, which is Super Mario Bros. 2, USA. Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2, which is Super Mario World. And then Yoshi's Island, Super Mario Advance 3. Those are all available on the Switch Online now, or they will be today. So I'm glad they just shotgun blasted them, got them out. I think this is the first time we've gotten a GBA update since Metroid Fusion, which was early April. So it's been actually a little bit already.
Which was the only update we've gotten so far, right? Did they add another game?
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think that's all we've gotten so far.
It's been a little bit slower. Of course, people always give Nintendo a lot of crap for like how they roll out these updates. I think they do pretty well, especially because it's not just GBA games. There's GB updates. I think Dreamland 2 came out in April or maybe March. Plus you have Genesis games, which honestly I wouldn't be surprised if some Genesis games get announced tonight. That's kind of how they do these things. It's separate. So
yeah,
I'd say like every other week at least there's some sort of new classic game being offered. Just maybe not
true?
for each. It definitely is. It definitely is.
I feel like I hear whenever they're announcing something, it doesn't. Sometimes they go fucking a month or something.
No, they don't.
Okay, all right. We gotta look this. We gotta look this up at some point.
They stagnated enough that it's pretty much every other week.
Okay.
Now maybe it's Genesis games, which is lame, but
sure. Hey, sometimes they got some interesting polls.
Sometimes they got
added
Pulse
the
Man.
fucking Wily Wars. That was weird.
That was
Pulse
cool.
Man. That's on there now. Huh.
Yeah. I don't know. The thing is, Tucker, to your point earlier, these are not new games, even to the Switch audience.
Some of these, this is the third time these versions of these games are being added to the service.
Right. Yeah. I don't know why you would want to play the GBA version of Yoshi's Island over the SNES version.
Yeah.
I know they added like new sound effects, but also I remember there was something with like the audio on the GBA.
Yeah, it's apparently worse.
Yeah. But they also did add more like sound effects for like Yoshi, like the humming and humming when he's doing his little hover. That like was missing from the yeah. I remember I was because that's the version I played growing up, and at some point I played I think on the SNES Classic maybe I was playing Yoshi's Island and there was no sound effects and I was like, what the fuck is this? It's so weird comparatively. But those are out now.
Yeah. I find these to be a little bit like underwhelming because I think they explicitly were not shown in that initial thing. Notorious games that were there, one of the F-Zero games, Golden Sun, Fire Emblem, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, Metroid Zero Mission. We know these games are coming. And so we expect those to be the ones that come the soonest. And they're just like, boom, here's a drop of 3 games, which is cool, expanding that library. Even though it is the 3rd time these games are being added, I'm glad that these versions are on there. The accessibility of multiple versions, being able to go from the NES version of Mario 2 to the Super Nintendo version in Mario All-Stars, and then you can go play the GBA version. That's a really interesting growth, and it shows that they're still like willing to add multiple versions. But the other games are much more exciting. Like, I want to play those other games. Does anyone want to play the GBA versions of these games? I don't know how popular they are. Maybe they're fan favorites. But like Kirby, Golden Sun, Fire Emblem, F-Zero?
I'm still waiting on it. Not GBA. I'm still waiting on the Oracle games because I think those are next in line for Game Boy Color. It is weird. You would think maybe they should have saved Mario Advance 4, which is definitely the most important of the 4 Mario Advance games because it had the new e-reader levels. Yeah. So by releasing that first and then these later, it feels a little weird, especially because literally it's the 4th one. So why not save it for last?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wonder if we're going to get the same kind of dump with Wario Land. Because they have Wario Land 3 on there.
Is it 3 or is it 2? I think it's just... No, yeah, you're right. It's 3. It's 3.
Yeah. But that means there's 3 other Wario Land Game Boy / Game Boy Advance games that they can add. I wonder if we're going to get... that'd be fun. Put those all together in a batch.
For sure. We'll probably know more. I don't know. We got Pokemon Stadium at the end of April, I think, right?
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Is Pokemon Stadium 2 also on there, or did they just do 1?
Just the first one, I think.
Okay, well, no, that's still... the other one's still coming.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll be milking that one for a little bit. I don't know. I like keeping a poll. I almost never actually load up those classic things, but every once in a while I'll check it, see what little new icons. I like how to do like the present reveal, like the flips a little card. Kind of fun.
Right. There's something new to play.
Yeah, and then you don't play. You look at it for 5 seconds. You're like, nope.
Well, what I do is I organize it in alphabetical order.
Oh, do you? When they first added NES and SNES, I was doing that, but then I just gave up because I was like, I don't care.
I'm a sick bastard. I've done it for all of them. I don't do the automatic sort though, because the automatic sort sorts it by alphabetical order, which I want, but it also puts the dumbfuck SP versions next to the other ones. I'm like, no,
I hate.
I want those at the bottom.
Those should be a separate. Those should just pop up when you click on the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And the worst part about it is that you can't sort by alphabetical or by release date and then move things around from that order. You can only do them from your own custom order. So I want them sorted by alphabetical order. I've got to make the list myself. It's just so fucking
How many games do you put in a row?
Huh?
How many games do you put in each row?
Oh, Jesus. How many do I put? Well, it depends on which system, because
N64 box arts are stupid.
Well, NES box art is vertical, but every other box art or SNES and N64 are horizontal box art. So I do 3 for those. I do 4 for NES, and I think I do 4 for Game Boy as well because they're square.
Okay.
But I've got a system and it works. It's really fucking annoying though.
Sick in the brain.
But I'm twisted. I'll go through and organize them all.
Tucker, this blindsided the Nintendo community this week. We got a new update for 3DS. This is beautiful.
What?
We get to talk about 3DS on this podcast in an official news capacity. Yes, a new firmware update for 3DS has come out. Version 11.17.0-50 has been released. Of course, the actual official patch notes from Nintendo just say further improvements to overall system stability. But what the modding scene knows is that this fucked people over.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's been alleviated yet. However, let's just say you, Tucker, with your unmodded 3DS, updated to this firmware unknowingly. It actually made it so you couldn't mod it. They actually blocked whatever current custom firmware setups people had. If you already had Luma, which is the custom firmware most people use, if you already had that installed, you're fine. But funny to see Nintendo still trying to block this. Yeah. And it is interesting. I saw a lot of people saying that, they shut down the eShop, so they shouldn't care about that. I think people are missing the point here. No matter what, even if you can't buy a game on the 3DS eShop, Nintendo sells a lot of their games on other platforms. Even these, well, I guess Mario Advance wasn't on the eShop for 3DS, but Mario 2 was on the eShop for 3DS. So it's weird to see them continue to push this, but also people are trying to say like, oh, they shouldn't do it at all because they shut down the eShop. They're still you're still pirating games that they could sell, or like Miitopia or something, right? So I don't think it's that surprising, to be honest. People were like acting like going crazy over this on Twitter, like how could they do this? Why would they do this when they have nothing to gain? You're still that's still their games.
Yeah, what's interesting is I don't think about it at all from that angle. It's like, okay, I don't mod my systems. I haven't. Sure. The closest I have is my R4 card, and that's not even 3DS games. It's DS games only. But I just think it's really funny that they've still got people working on this. Like, how big do you think the 3DS software update team is at Nintendo? Is it like 4 guys in like a cubicle somewhere, and they're like, oh shit, they're still people are still modding.
They're still hacking it, boys. We gotta figure it out.
Yeah, they whip up they're staying up in the middle of the night, like sweating, trying to make sure that people aren't modding their 3DSs 2 years after they published their last game or whatever.
I wonder, because in December of last year they released an update for Mario Kart 7 because there was some big exploit found in a bunch of online games. I wonder like if that team got bumped up, like maybe they have more staff now. Because I can't imagine there was no developments for 3DS for years.
Of course not.
And then at the end of last year, of course, with the eShop closing down.
Update?
That's a good question. I'm not sure when the last firmware was. I would imagine that was probably one in like 2021 for no reason. I would imagine, but it's been a while.
Nintendo.
Similarly,
firmware.
I didn't pull it for this news, but they are also ending Wii U repairs in Japan. If like you had like a warranty, I guess. I don't know. I guess they were still doing repairs for Wii U, which is weird. But these well, in that case, Wii U that's more of a sign of it being dead. But 3DS still kicking. And then the Nintendo, I just like the thought of there just being 4 people working on it.
Yeah,
at Nintendo. Yeah. Maybe one person, but
okay. So we're talking about further improvements to system stability. May 22nd, 3 days ago, as of recording, the last update. Bo, now let's do a little guessing game here, okay?
Okay.
How many updates or no updates, up to you. You're to decide. How many were done in 2022?
None.
0? Okay, all right.
And we're talking about system software updates, correct?
Yeah, whatever this was. Were there more versions of that?
Okay, none.
I'm on the America.
Wait, no, I'm stupid. Thing. No, there had to at least be one because they changed the eShop. I think. I'm gonna say one.
I don't think that counts.
I guess they
they have a little bit of description. It's the exact same description. Further improvements to overall system stability, yada yada yada. It's that copy and fucking pasted every time. There were 2 in 2022.
Interesting.
Yes. And they were a month apart. They were less than a month apart. So something happened.
When were they?
On August 29th, they just patched it up.
That's what I was talking about.
And then on September 12th?
At the end of August is when they stopped accepting credit cards on the eShop.
Oh, gotcha.
That's what I was thinking. I don't know what September 12th is. I don't know what's up with that.
In March, though.
Nothing happened in March, technically. They put up a notice on the eShop. Oh, wait, you mean March of this year?
Yeah.
Maybe that September update was prepping for it. Maybe they just had it already ready.
Sure, whatever. Yeah, so they did one in August and they did one in September. There was one in 2021. Further improvements to system stability, minor adjustments, yada, yada, yada. 1 in 2022, 3 in 2019, 3 in 2018. So someone's still doing this.
Someone's still
it's bizarre.
Still hitting away at it.
It's so interesting.
Speaking of updates, Tucker, this was kind of cool. There was an update already for Tears of the Kingdom. So we already had, I just want to mention this. We already had the day 1 patch or the day -5 patch or whatever, whenever they actually released it, that improved stability. And we'll talk a little bit about stability when we get to what we're playing, because you have finished. Yes.
I have finished all the temples.
Yes. But they updated it to version 1.1.1 this week. Apparently there was an issue with the main quest called The Closed Door, but they have fixed that. And I think that's about it. But it's just nice to see, especially the juxtaposition with Pokemon. Nintendo is on this game. They are working on it, making sure it's fine. So if you're doing the duplication glitches, get ready because they're coming for you. They're gonna be patching that real quick.
I gave it the duplication glitch a try the other day.
Dude, it's gotten so easy. It's so funny because I watched one, and at first it was kind of convoluted. You had to do like some arrow. You had to pull your arrow while doing a shield or something.
Okay, that's
And
I think that's the only thing I've done.
Yeah, it was slow. Basically, you could only do one material at a time.
Yes. Okay.
Now
I don't know
it is
the better version.
Yeah, because I've done a little bit of it, not a ton. I have 60,000 rupees.
Jesus. I had like 12K. That was like the highest my rupee count went, and then I got my house, and that shit went down to like 1K.
Exactly.
Like, God, I'm fucking
that house
right
is that house is a rupee drain. But now the glitch is so simple. You literally just do like a shield surf midair, pause, and then drop the ingredients, and dude, it's so easy. So
okay, all right, I gotta give that a try today.
That will be getting patched soon. So if you want to make some easy money in Tears of the Kingdom,
yeah,
you might want to get on that. All right, this was really interesting for me. There was an interview with the producer Takashi Tokita for Live Alive from Square Enix, of course, talking about the future of Live Alive because this just released on PlayStation and Steam last month. And in this interview, he basically said that a sequel of this game is possible if the first game, Live Alive, the remake from the SNES, hits 1 million in sales. I think this all but confirms Live Alive 2, Tucker, because Live Alive sold 500,000 copies in its first month on Switch. Mm-hmm. So between the year since that game came out, or almost a year, the PlayStation 4 version and the Steam version. Oh,
that's right. Yeah,
I can only imagine it's at least close to 1 million.
Yeah.
So if they make a sequel to this, that'd be really cool. Because Live Alive, for those that don't know, was an SNES game that never got translated and localized. I played it last year. I wasn't super hot on it, I'm going to be honest. I know a lot of people really liked it. Of course, there's another one of their HD 2D games. I'd be curious to see if they do another one. Would it be HD 2D? I'd imagine so.
Yeah, probably. Well, especially because Square just loves that fucking engine, man. They just use that shit for everything now. We're still getting that Dragon Quest 3 remake. HD.
Dude, we haven't seen that in years.
Yeah.
What happened to that?
And I mean, they made 3 new games with it: Octopath, Triangle Strategy, and Octopath 2. So they've got this engine, and it looks great, and people are happy with it. And obviously, they already have Live Alive's code and textures and characters and stuff in that engine. So yeah, I assume it will be.
For sure. Yeah, it's just cool to see. I like. Modern Square Enix is so weird because they have all these missteps like Foam Stars, and Babylon's Fall, but then they have stuff like Live Alive,
the Quiet Man.
Yeah, the Quiet Man. But then they have like this sector, there's like, and then to be fair, I think this, in terms of the quantity of releases, is the majority of their output at this point. Is like these smaller games like Live Alive and Triangle Strategy, and even like stuff like Diofield Chronicle and Valkyrie Elysium, which maybe aren't gonna light the world on fire, but they're just nice for the niche audience. But then they have fucking Foam Stars pop up and it ruins everything. So if Live Alive 2 happens, I would definitely check it out. Because I think there's definitely a cool concept there. Probably nothing to say on this.
Square's the funniest modern developer.
Dude, they
so make me laugh every time they announce a new game. I'm like, you guys are crazy. You guys are fucking wild. I remember watching one of the direct like September of last year, and there were just like 3 new Square Enix games. I'm like, why? Who's gonna fucking buy these?
Oh, Various Day Life.
Yeah, and Harvestella.
Hey, Harvestella apparently was pretty good.
I'm not saying these games are bad, but just like
they just be released. Dude, that's so funny because they're all like out. They're not actually developed by Square Enix. Most of them, like Valkyrie Elysium, was not developed by Square Enix. Okay. Harvestella was outsourced as well, I believe. Same with Diofield. It's very weird. Their strategy that will always be an anomaly to me. Specifically, the last like 6 months of 2022.
Yeah,
is the weirdest output I've ever seen from a single publisher.
Crazy.
They released like 20 games. It was so weird. They did not slow down. Tactics Ogre Reborn, Dragon Quest Treasures, Crisis Core Reunion.
Yeah.
What the fuck happened? Why didn't they? And then you look at this year, it kind of continued into February. They had Theater Rhythm and Octopath Traveler 2. There's been nothing since then. Yeah, Forspoken, but there's been nothing since February. Why not? Why not sprinkle some of those into March and April and May? Come on, SE.
Yeah, and they've got a major release in June,
of course,
and then also apparently Rebirth, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is like
I assume
really
that'll be
soon.
next year.
Yeah,
next spring they said winter 2023. I think
they did,
or maybe next winter or something. It's not happening this year. It'll be like probably April next year. Probably not much to say on this, but I want to include it. Samba de Amigo Party Central hit Switch on August 29th. We didn't have a release date for this game. Gonna retail for $50, it looks like. I guess that's the digital deluxe version. Have you ever played Samba de Amigo?
I own it on Wii. I've never actually played it. The only reason that I bought it was because I knew the that the little Amigo character was in one of the Sonic racing games, and I'm like, oh,
Yes.
Sega characters. But no, I have no experience with it. I with that announcement yesterday and like being frankly reminded that that game was coming, I was like, what is the history of the Samba de Amigo
It's a
series?
Dreamcast game, right?
It's not. Yeah, it's not a series. It's Samba de Amigo on Dreamcast, and then they remade Samba de Amigo on Wii, and then slide
That was
dormant
a
for
was that a remake or a reboot? Like, what is that?
I don't know. It's called the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. Sorry, I haven't done the research into
Sega's output
the
on Wii is
differences.
interesting too, because then you also had Nights in the Dreams, which was just like a
Yeah.
reboot, I guess.
I don't know. I haven't played it.
I always wanted to play Samba de Amigo. I never did, because they have the maracas, right, for the Wii.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But, or you can just use the Wii mode, which is.
Sure.
I mean, I don't have the maracas. I'm not a big peripherals guy.
You know, like your Taiko no Tatsujin drums, Tucker.
God no. I mean, I would play that game with the drum if someone else I knew had a copy of it with the drum.
Sure.
I'd like peripherals because they give interactivity sort of a different flavor.
Were you a Guitar Hero kid?
No.
My
mom had Rock Band, and she had the drum set and the guitar, and those motherfuckers gathered so much dust in our closet. It's not even funny. I don't even know if we still have them. They're probably gone.
The guitars are actually getting kind of pricey now for people that want them on the aftermarket. Yeah, because there's like this PC software called Clone Hero, which just lets you import your own songs.
Gotcha.
So people have been getting for that. Like, there's like a specific like Wii guitar that people go crazy for. So if you have people listen to this podcast, if you have some old guitars in your closet, it might be worth some serious money. Although I can't imagine shipping those would be fun. Long ass.
Yeah. The interesting thing about all those rhythm games that were so prolific in the 7th generation is I think it'd be really fun to give them a concerted try. I've played a number of rhythm games more recently, and I'm more interested in the genre games like Elite Beat Agents and technically Hi-Fi Rush. That's kind of a rhythm game. So I'm like, yeah, I'd like to give Guitar Hero a try. That's an incredibly popular and important game franchise that I have zero connection to. Never played Dance Dance Revolution. I must have played Rock Band, but I don't remember it. I'd like to give these a try, but that's I'd have to be really committed to like go and buy the peripherals for these games. Of course, the games themselves, every secondhand game store you go into has got this section where they've got like 40 copies of them stacked on top of each other, and then like the big peripheral like locked behind a fucking thing. So getting the game would be easy, but playing it,
I like Guitar Hero a lot growing up, but I don't know if I think I'm done. I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Same with Samba de Amigo. I don't think I'll ever play this probably, but this is a Switch
just going to be a use the Joy-Con.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm still not going to play it, Tucker. I'm not going to play it.
Gotcha. My bad. Okay, sorry. I thought I was giving you an in, but I see. You gonna buy it though, Mr. Collector?
Probably not.
Oh,
it also uses licensed songs, which I don't know if that appeals to me. Which Samba de Amigo, it has like this quirky characters and this. Yeah, you expect it maybe to have more unique music. It is licensed music.
Now I'm not a music guy. I'm gonna do a little Google search to see. Do you, off the top of your head, do you remember any of the songs that the licensed songs that they're putting in there, like any bands or?
I think Katy Perry's in there. It's like that type of vibe. Now, to be fair, I'm looking. The digital deluxe edition does include some Sega music. So there's a Sega music DLC pack and a Sonic music DLC pack. So you will get some Sega music. But I think it is primarily.
This game's got some fun key art. I like the key art. I like the logo. It's got this like.
I like the there's costumes as well that come with it for your Samba de Amigo monkey. There's a Puyo Puyo outfit where it's like he's being sucked into the Puyo Puyo. It looks like.
Oh, that's.
And the maracas are Puyo Puyos.
Oh Jesus! What's the pink one?
Oh God!
There's Sonic, there's Tails, there's Ion.
Space Channel.
Oh, Space Channel 5. I was actually going to play that like within the next few days because I was thinking about no, I was thinking about oh God, who's the guy at Enhance that Rez.
I know who you're I know you're talking about.
Oh God. But he was on Space Channel 5. So I want to give those games a try. I have no fucking clue what Space Channel 5 is like, but Space Channel 5 is one of those like sits in the back of my mind rent free. I'm just like, I need to play that at some point.
It's a Dreamcast game.
Yes. I know nothing about the Dreamcast. The only Dreamcast game I've played is Sonic Adventure 1.
I think the only Dreamcast game I played is I was at my cousin's house when I was a kid, and he had
Michiguchi. Tetsuya Michiguchi.
I was thinking, I knew it started with an M. I remember going to my cousin's house and playing like NFL 2K3 or something. and
Yeah.
I just remember thinking the little VMU that you put in your controller was fucking stupid. All right,
He was also a producer on Meteos. Have you played Meteos?
That's a DS game, right? Is that the what's
it's a Sakurai game.
I was gonna say Sakurai. That's Sakurai, right? Yeah.
It's Sakurai Mitsuguchi. What a crazy fucking combo. And I own Meteos. I played a little bit of it. I think it's fine, but it's such a Sakurai game. You look at the menus and you're like, this is exactly the fucking Brawl.
Well, his wife does the menus, right? I believe.
Does she actually? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think his wife does the UI for his games.
Huh.
All right.
I digress.
Yeah.
Moving on.
What the fuck? Why is the Samba de Amigo section the longest section of the podcast so far, Tucker? What the hell? I said we probably don't have much to say about it. Talks about it for 10 minutes.
I like spinning things off, you know?
All right. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, the last Spark Hunter DLC, had a new trailer revealed this week. Coming out mid 2023. I was confused because the DLC structure for Mario plus Rabbids 1 was very simple. Yes, you had your season pass. The first wave was like more challenge maps, and then the second wave was the DK Adventure like expansion, which added new characters and like a whole new story. I haven't been paying attention to this game. I did not finish this game. I put like maybe 15, 20 hours into it. I really enjoyed it. But this looks to be like a full expansion. But that confuses me because there's also the Rayman expansion, which I think this is different. So I guess there's two major expansions for this game, which is cool. This game was very good from what I played, but I have not finished it, so this DLC does not interest me at all, to be completely honest. I think I'm good on this IP. I think I'm good if Ubisoft never
get your feel.
Yeah, like it's weird. It's really good. It is, but I think I'm good. This makes me sound like such a Nintendo fanboy, but there is a certain level of just, I don't know if it's because I know Nintendo didn't develop it, but there's a certain level of like ick on anything they didn't make. I can feel I can feel the Ubisoft ick on this game. I don't know what it is. I don't like the music. I've never been a fan of Grant Kirkhope personally.
You baby. Oh, great.
I love Banjo-Kazooie music, but I think the soundtrack for the first game especially was not good. Really fucking annoying music.
I've not played Sparks of Hope at all. Abram gave me his copy. So I would like to try it at some point. I enjoyed what I played of the first game.
It's fun.
And by all accounts, Sparks of Hope is just the better game.
It is better game. It's absolutely better.
So awesome. Great. But I'm surprised that they're doing this. I mean, do people care?
I don't know. Like, because they teased Rayman was going to be in the DLC, and that still hasn't happened. So that means there's still another DLC after this.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about the last Spark Hunter, because I didn't see this trailer, I didn't hear anything about it. No one I knew was talking about this.
I didn't know about it either until I went on Go Nintendo and saw it.
But is that there's not like a hook for it, like a character? Because funny, Donkey Kong is a playable character.
They do tease a character in it. They do tease a new Rabbid character. I don't know, maybe it's plot related that I didn't get to or something.
Are you gonna spoil?
I don't know. Well, no, they literally just tease it. You just like see her hopping around, like you can hear her voice. Oh. I don't know who it's supposed to be, but
is it a new like original? Because I've got like the Goth Girl GF.
I think it might be a new Goth Girl GF.
Oh Christ!
But
there's so many Mario. Where's the Nabbit version? Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
No, let's make our own original Rabbids that speak English now for some reason.
Where's Rabid Peachette?
Rabid Peachette. Jesus Christ.
Rabid Bowsette. Come on.
Ooh.
Come on.
I mean, that's basically what I think the character's name was Edge. That's basically what Edge was.
Oh, is that the
God, was Edge a boy or a girl? I don't even know.
I don't know.
Got that Russie out though. Tucker.
The Rabidussie. I'm rabid for that Russie.
Speaking of DLC though, this one, dude, this shocked me. I was laying in bed, I saw this one announced at like 1 a.m. I was like, what the fuck? So for those unaware, The Wonderful 101, developed by Platinum Games, Wii U exclusive game in 2013. In 2020, before COVID happened, that's how long ago this was, they did a Kickstarter to bring the game to modern platforms. The port was already done. It was more so funding for the publishing because they had tried to pitch it to Nintendo and Nintendo didn't want to publish it. So they published it on their own. They got to put it on PS4 and I think it's on Xbox and Steam.
Yeah.
As part of the Kickstarter, which I did back, I have there's like a special slipcover you get with it, which is kind of cool. As part of the Kickstarter, I didn't realize this. They promised DLC, Tucker.
Oh, huh. I never heard anyone talk about
the first wave of that DLC is now available. 3 years later.
What?
Yes. I could not believe this when I saw it because it just seems like one of those things that...
Is Platinum developing that?
Yeah, Platinum made it.
Okay.
it's like this. It's like a side scroller mode. It's so weird.
What?
It's so weird that it took 3 years to release this. I was looking at the comments. Most people just thought it wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah. That's bizarre.
It's called
you said First Wave.
Yes.
This
so
is
this
gonna
is
be more. So
this is the wonderful one. After School Hero, free DLC now available. Even if you didn't Kickstarter it, it's free. This is After School Hero Part 1 though. So.
Oh, I can't wait for the conclusion of the After School Hero saga. I've never played Wonderful 101. I have it on Wii U. That's where I'd like to play
it there. Definitely play it on Wii U.
Yeah.
The Switch version has some. I mean, obviously, there's this new DLC, so I guess you'd be missing out on that. But
yeah.
The Switch version.
I do not give a fuck.
The console version's literally the way they implemented gamepad stuff was not good. They just put it up on the screen.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
It's not good. But I mean, I guess shout out to Platinum for delivering. This is, it's better to see this happen at some point than never. We could have a Mighty Number 9 PS Vita and 3DS situation on our hands where that game was never canceled. Still coming.
No, it's fucking not.
It's coming, dude.
That would be insane. The collecting world would lose their goddamn mind if Mighty Number 9 Vita just was something like, oh yeah, no, don't worry, there's someone working on it, and here's the physical copy. What? Huh?
The ultimate grail of 3DS and Vita collecting right there.
That'd be crazy, dude. God.
All right.
I never even played that game.
It's fine. It's people give it so much crap, and it's not as good as Mega Man, but it's fine. It's not very good, but it's fine. We probably don't have too much to say about this because we've been talking about this movie every week on the podcast, so I think we can move along pretty quickly here. But the Mario movie has become the third highest grossing animated movie of all time, Tucker. It passed The Incredibles 2. It's at $1.248 billion. So all that's left to pass is Frozen 1 and 2. Frozen 1 is at $1.276 billion, so it's going to be passing that, I think, probably, right? That's only $30,000, so probably going to pass that. It probably already is.
That's $30 million.
Jesus Christ. $30 million. Probably still going to pass that, though, I'd imagine, right?
Maybe.
I know it's definitely slowing down.
Yeah, it's really slowing down. I mean, it's available on digital. It's still doing fine. It's having good holds, but 30 million is still a lot, especially because as of this
the movie's been out for 2 weeks, 2 months.
Yeah, no, it has. I'm surprised it's still in theaters, but this week's kicks off, I guess last week, but Fast X is not like setting the world on fire. The summer movie season is in such full fucking swing for the next 2 months. This movie is going to be pushed out, and naturally so. It's been out for 2 months, but I think it'll sit there at the third spot. I don't think it's going to be passing Frozen. I think it'll get there. It's not going to get first. Prediction. It's not going to get first place because that's Frozen 2 with $1.45 billion from what I can see here. But incredible success for this movie, incredible legs even still. I mean, 2 months in, still up there. Yeah. I do question, dude. I don't understand theaters. I've been getting more into movies this year. I've been trying to keep up more with current release. I watched Air. It was fine. Fine. But I was looking at I use Fandango to get tickets. I was just looking at the tickets. Do you remember the movie The Bad Guys that Mr. Beast promoted? Yeah, I saw the animated movie. That's playing in a theater near me. It's always weird. Also, Minions from last year's playing near me. Yeah. Theaters do. I know they just do whatever they want. But stuff. Is that what it is? It's just because kids movies. They need more kids movies in theaters at a time. They show Illumination's Grinch. Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like this movie's gonna be in theaters for a while then. At least off and on. Obviously, it's not gonna be consistent. But 30 million over the course of like another year or two. I think that's that's a great point. Yeah, because it'll be like, hey, come see the new hot popular kids movie in a theater for $5. And if everyone's doing that across the nation for the foreseeable future, I mean, until the next one comes out. Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 1 was playing. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's possible for sure to hit second place. Definitely not first place. It's not going to do that, but crazy success for that movie. Tucker, we have 2 final quick news stories. These are pretty sad. One of them especially because I loved this indie developer. All right, I still love them. They still exist. Both these studios still exist. But 2 companies this week saw pretty major layoffs. First up, the indie developer Brace Yourself Games, the developers of Crypto the Necrodancer. They had to cut. Let me get the exact number here. Didn't they just announce a new game? Yes, they have a new game. It's Rift of the Necrodancer. It looks. I played it at PAX last year. Fantastic. It's more rhythm based than Crypto Necrodancer was like a turn based rhythm game almost in a weird way. That was just straight up rhythm game with rhythm heaven elements in it, like mini games. Really good. Yeah. Really good. They laid off about 20 people, which is about half of their staff. So that's not good. That's rough.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Of course, most notably for this audience, they developed Cadence of Hyrule with Nintendo, so they made a Zelda game. But yeah, they saw pretty massive layoffs, so good luck to everybody affected. Thoughts and prayers, Hope you land on your feet. But also, Life is Strange developer Deck 9, or at least the current developer of Life is Strange, had to lay off 30 people. I don't see numbers for exactly how big the studio was, but 30 people is a significant amount. I can't imagine the studio was that big. They didn't make Life is Strange the IP that was...
Don't Nod.
Don't Nod, thank you.
I'm pulling all these names out of my ass.
Of course, they're doing Vampire now, and they've done a couple other things. They haven't had a big success since Life is Strange, I don't think, though, have they?
Don't Nod?
Yeah. They changed their name. They added the apostrophe in or something. It was weird.
That really happened?
They changed the alliteration.
Really
it was weird.
Really fucking funny to me. I honestly I don't know too much about that. But I am a Life is Strange fan, especially the Deck 9 game, because
I think I played
True Colors.
I was gonna say
it's so fucking good, man.
Way better than Life is Strange 1. Not
So
even close.
good.
I really like True Colors, and when I played Life is Strange when it came out, when it was episodic Telltale style, I hated it. I genuinely hated Life is Strange 1. And then, but then I played True Colors, and I was like, damn, this is really good. I played with my girlfriend. We had a lot of fun. Makes me want to try playing Before the Storm. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then the Deck 9 also did Remastered Collection. So Don't Nod did Life is Strange 1 and 2, and
they did the Awesome Adventures of
I was gonna say,
Spirit.
I remember that. And then Deck 9 did Before the Storm and True Colors. So I hope they're okay. I hope Square Enix maybe gives them a little money injection there to get another Life is Strange game out. But
with the success of Foam Stars coming up, there's gonna be money to spare. That's why they sold Eidos. And Crystal Dynamics
for Foam Stars.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Jesus.
All right, Tucker.
I'd love to see the Deck 9 follow up to True Colors, though. That's one of my favorite games of 2021. I absolutely adored that game.
I think I actually put it on my list. Yeah.
I thought that the choice to have the woman who plays Lady Dimitrescu win Best Performance over Danica Mori, who played Alex Chen, I was fucking livid. I was livid at that news that the fucking game won.
The lady that played Lady Dimitrescu won?
Yeah, she won the fucking award. Because she's a meme. I mean, the performance is good. She's good.
Yeah, she was good, but no.
It's not.
Not for the performance award.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Jesus Christ. Tucker, let's get into what we're playing. So this week was weird for me. I didn't really play that many games. Well, here's the thing. I played a lot of games, but I didn't play a lot of games deeply. So I'm gonna be honest. I don't have much to say about any of these. We'll talk a lot about
list them, and I'll be like, I gotta know why you played that.
Right. I'll say a little bit about each thing. Of course, we both are still playing Tears of the Kingdom, so we'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah.
As well as Humanity, which I think we both played a little bit of. Still playing Modern Warfare 2. Honestly, that's what I've been spending most of my time with, just because playing with the boys. That's how it is.
Yeah.
However, in my desperation attempt to pry myself away from Warzone because I fucking hate it, I have such a toxic relationship with Warzone, even though it's my most played game this year, probably. I tried to get my friends into Destiny 2, which was kind of a funny coincidence considering Bungie just announced a new IP, or not new IP, but a new game. Played it for probably 5 hours. I beat Destiny 1 when it came out, and I also played The Taken King, so that was a long time ago. And I enjoyed it. I mostly played it single player, some with my brother, mostly playing PvP Crucible. Playing Destiny 2, I want to get more into it. I don't think my friends are going to stick with it with me, so I might have to do it solo. When I played Destiny 1, it was really straightforward. I don't know if it's because they've added so many expansions and so many battle passes and so much shit. They've removed content. They vaulted content. They brought vaulted content back. First of all, I know no idea what the fuck's going on. And second of all, there's so many icons on the map. It's actually hard to figure out what to do. So
I gotta be 100% real with you. I don't know how Destiny is structured. Is Destiny 1 even still available? Can you play that game?
I don't know. I would assume so. Yeah, I think so. Actually, I think you can. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. They're not Blizzard. They're not doing an Overwatch.
Yeah, they're not pulling Overwatch.
That's old news. I'm so unfamiliar with Destiny, but like you're talking about this. There's a, I mean, I guess I knew that it was there was big open areas, but you say icons on the map, like is it an open world?
It's open areas. You open up your map, you have all these different planets.
Yeah.
And in Destiny 1, there wasn't that many of those. But I guess because of all this DLC, it just ballooned. It's an MMO, basically. The closest game you can compare it to that at a glance is Borderlands. open areas. You go around to these little outposts,
Looter
you loot
shooter.
them.
Yeah.
It's a looter shooter. With more MMO heavy elements. You have like your hub world. You have all the stat building stuff that you can do.
Yeah.
I want to get more into it. I think specifically the PvP I could get really into. But we'll see.
Now, so was this the first time playing Destiny 2?
Yes, this is my first time picking up Destiny 2. I enjoyed
late.
yeah. Yes. Well, they're still updating it.
Of course, yeah. They just announced a new expansion. I heard that Nathan Fillion is coming back. Something I didn't know that he was in.
He was in to begin with. Okay.
It's apparently a big deal.
What about he's not the ghost, is he? Wasn't Peter Dinklage the little ghost? Yes. And did they remove him?
I don't know, man. I don't. You're the Destiny mastermind.
I'm the Destiny mastermind. So yeah, I might keep giving Destiny a try. We'll see. Another game I also dabbled with a little bit this week because of an announcement we'll get to with our major stories. I loaded up Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh yeah.
I mentioned, I said this last week. It happens every time. Every time a new fighting games announced are about to come out, I get excited. I played Mortal Kombat Deception and Armageddon growing up, and I fucking love Deception. More so in the context of playing with my brother and watching my brother play, because he's like 7 years older than me. Played like 3 hours of Mortal Kombat 11. I'm dog shit at it, but it's fun. Mm-hmm. Good, clean, wholesome family fun.
Yeah, of course.
Not sure if I'll finish the story mode, but just messing around with it. It was a good time. And then also, I tried out Humanity per your recommendation last week. Only played, I think, I played the prologue and the first world, so maybe an hour or so. Yeah. Really cool experience, dude. It's what I wanted because I love Tetris Effect. That audio visual experience, just seeing, and just like the idea of humans as particles is also awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need to dive more into that. But yeah, I guess we can jump over to you with Humanity. Did you play it much more this week?
I played. So I think I played the first two like sets of levels by the time we last spoke. I played the prologue and the first two sets of levels. The last thing I did, or I was on, was the first boss of the game, which is defeat the blue core. And so I did that when I got back on, and then I played another, I think, set of 2 worlds right up to that last boss. So I think I've like got this, I've got this pattern going, and so by next week I'll have beaten the next boss and I'll play 2 more worlds. But yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I'm interested to hear your thoughts so we can like have a little larger conversation about it. But right after you beat that first boss, the blue core, the game introduces the idea of playing levels, setting up the levels before you press play, and then not interacting with them at all. You have to set down all of your commands, then the humans start walking, and then you can't fucking do anything. You just gotta watch.
Interesting.
Which is a lot harder.
I was just saying that sounds more fun though.
It was very interesting.
I was running into. I've never played Lemmings, and I can't think of any other games like this that I've played, to be honest. So
there's the little clank thing in Rift Apart where you got to guide your
that was the worst part of that game.
Yeah, it was.
So the basic premise of Humanity is you control like a little spirit dog, and you basically just bark and control it and put commands down on the ground for humans to walk through. Of course, there's like little trophies you collect as you go through, and you're basically just trying to get the humans to the goal without them falling off the edge. It actually was getting pretty complex pretty early, I feel like.
Yes.
With high jumps. Yeah, I was actually struggling already, which is why I stopped playing it. I'm gonna get back to it because I do want to finish it. I heard it's only like a couple hours long, so I definitely want to give this one more shot. But it's cool. I don't play a lot of puzzle games though, so yeah. I'm more there for the audio visual, and the game is just kind of the backdrop. But the music is really good. I assume there's more music as you get further, right? More worlds. Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's cool. My girlfriend was gone, and I was like booming on my TV. I had it up really loud. She walked in. She was like, "What the fuck is happening?"
It's very bizarre, very peculiar. Yeah, I would certainly like to really dive into it. By the time we next record, I'm planning to have beaten Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, I guess we might as well just
let's get into it.
Talk about that. Yeah. It's weird. I've played so much Tears of the Kingdom in the last 2 weeks, more than almost any other game that I've played.
How many hours do you have? Do you know?
I have like 75 hours.
Okay. You're catching up to me. You're catching up to me.
Yeah. Which is crazy because you had this twice as long as I am.
To be fair, I basically have not played it this week.
Of course. Yeah.
I've very much dropped off of it, to be honest. Aside from doing glitches.
But so I spent most of last week just doing exploring most of the depths, as I talked about. I as of this week, I've now done all the Skyview Towers, so I have the entire map explored. And then this week, I focused on visiting each town and doing their the temples and the quests that lead up to them. And I think this is where this is where the game's new content balances out in the most interesting ways in terms of exploring the open world. I contend, and whenever I talk about this game or whenever I review it, whether it's you or talking about with Abram or whatever, exploring the open world feels very different in this game because of the way that you have to traverse around it and the way that you have the sky view towers, and you can go a lot farther, and your machines allow you to travel in the sky and very quickly on the ground and all of that. But I still understand people who say that they feel like they've already seen the map, the large scale map. It's like, okay, yeah, similar areas, the towns are the same layouts largely, and so I understand it from that point of view. But playing through, as I talked about last week with the Wind Temple, but now is more clear in my mind because I've actually played the majority of that linear content.
Yeah, light spoilers, I guess, because we talked about temples pretty openly in this video, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just really interesting to have something that Breath of the Wild didn't have, which is like joining characters to do things and like progressing the world in like meaningful ways. And in terms of these little story chunks, I really liked the dungeons. There's one that in my mind is significantly worse than the rest. But now that I've done them all, I'm like, yeah, they did a really good job. I think it's a like twice, if not three times more interesting than the quote unquote story stuff with the divine beasts in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The temple you're alluding to, I believe, I think I saw your tweet, is the Fire Temple, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's my least favorite, to be honest.
Sure.
Okay, here's the thing. I think the lead up to all 4 dungeons is fantastic. I think the worst lead up though is the Fire Temple, which definitely affects my opinion of that as well.
Yeah.
I think the lead up to the Water Temple is fantastic with doing little riddles with the kids. You have to like figure out the secret spot behind the water. It's fantastic. Same thing with the Lightning Temple with Riju. Is awesome. The fucking. Can we just? I guess, are we just openly talking about it at this point? Are we safe to do that? Skip ahead from this section. There's timestamps.
Yeah.
The tower defense stuff. It's not hard, but it's so cool. This is what I was talking about with, like, you were talking about the opening last week or the week before about how it feels more like a Sony game. It's almost like these set pieces that we haven't had from a Nintendo game in a long time.
Yeah.
So really cool stuff there. Even just the Fire Temple, riding around with Yunobo on your glider and like shooting down the thing to get into the
coming out of Death Mountain.
Yeah. Really cool stuff. But yeah, the Fire Temple, I don't know if I like it more or less than the Water Temple. I'm curious about your experience with the Water Temple, because I didn't really know what the fuck I was doing. I'm gonna be honest. There was an area I didn't even know how to get up to, and I just did some weird rocket BS. I don't know how I was supposed to get up there.
Yeah.
To be completely honest. I like its design, like aesthetically, it's open, which is cool for a temple.
Yeah.
And then the Fire Temple, which I mentioned in my reviews, ran horribly before the day 1 patch. And you said you still experienced more issues there than anywhere else, right?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. For me, the Fire Temple was distinctly the worst because, though it's a cool idea for a temple to have this puzzle with minecart rails that go between layers, and you need to use your Ultra Hand and recall and all of that to sort of manipulate these and find your way from place to place. It was so fucking time consuming, and the map doesn't like properly indicate how things are connected.
It is the most intricate map in the
I
game.
found it so fucking annoying that, like you said you were with the Water Temple, I just horse shitted most of them. Because the interesting thing about Tears of the Kingdom, and I think this is especially in this one specific instance, the Fire Temple, this is its greatest strength, but also like a interesting weakness, is I felt like what was there and was designed wasn't very fun for me to engage with. And I was disappointed in that. I like the puzzles and the layouts of all the other temples, as I want to get to, but I was just not interested in dealing with these fucking minecarts. They weren't very slow. It was hard to see which one was going. The rails on the map when you're looking from above are like crisscross. Like, oh god, it fucking hurts my brain. And so I'm disappointed in how less significantly less interesting that was designed for me. But in terms of Tears of the Kingdom being Tears of the Kingdom, doesn't matter. Who gives a fuck? You've got Ascend. You've got Recall. You can do whatever the hell you want. You've got rockets on your shields. So
Right.
I just skipped everything. I would rocket myself up, glide over, glue myself to a wall, float something up, ascend through a thing, be like, oh shit, I'm in the wrong place. Scoot back down, try again. I fucked around so much that I found myself in the areas I was supposed to be.
Yeah,
and that was a cool way for me to get through it. But I am disappointed that I didn't enjoy the actual design of the temple as much as I did the other ones, because I never felt like I needed to do that for the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, like I said, I kind of had a similar experience with certain aspects of the water temple, just because I didn't realize how to get to a certain spot. But I had the same experience with the fire temple, because for those that don't know, it's a similar terminal structure as Breath of the Wild, where you have to activate terminals. However, in this game, you use your abilities from your new partners that you get, which I do want to talk about, because I feel like we haven't really talked about those. And in the fire temple, you have Yunobo, who turns into his little Goron ball and launches out. And there's basically like these big gongs you have to hit to activate the terminal. There was one that I can't remember. I don't know. I can't remember the exact way you're supposed to do it, but there was one that was like up on a ledge. But the ledge was so small that you couldn't like stand up there, so you couldn't like cheese it and have him spawn up there with you.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how I was supposed to do that. What I did, Tucker, on a rail.
Build a ramp.
Well, I was gonna say I don't think you're supposed to do it like that. I think there was there was a rail leading to it somewhere. I think you're supposed to be riding on a minecart and shoot it from the minecart. But I did. There's like these little lamps around the map, just like the Zonai looking egg thing.
Yeah.
I literally just jerry rigged like a platform, right? Like you said, a ramp. I didn't even build a ramp. I literally just put a slab and then I launched him off of it, and it just happened to work. And I was like, okay, it's not satisfying. It's like you said, it's a weakness and a strength.
Yeah.
It's not satisfying in the traditional sense, because, like you said, I don't feel like I got to see the creator's intent with that.
Exactly.
But also, that's the beauty of Tears of the Kingdom, is that you can do it in any way, and we can have these discussions about how I did it versus you.
Mm-hmm.
The fire temple's weird. I also similarly did not like how when it leaked, I was like, oh, sick, there's like 7 floors. And then when I got to it in the game and saw it and like in the context of the world and seeing all the minecarts, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Especially with how it ran before the day 1 patch. Dude, when I tell you it probably dropped to 10 FPS consistently, it was rough getting through it.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed, like, aside from frame rate, aesthetically and like the setting.
Sure. A
decent amount.
It's like the ancient Goron city or whatever. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. There's also the crack rocks that the Gorons eat.
Great point. Yeah, me and my friends were talking about that. The regional, what are they called? The regional phenomena are so funny because it's natural disasters for everyone else, and then the Gorons got a fucking opioid epidemic. It's like what the fuck? How did Ganon even do that? I guess the monster that's in Death Mountain maybe like infected the rock and turned it into, oh god, what's it called? Oh Jesus, I can't remember the term they used to refer to it, but something rock roast. No, I can't remember. But yeah, I do think it's really funny. It's like sandstorm, snowstorm. What is it in the Zora area?
The goop.
Again?
The goop.
Oh, the goop. Yeah. The sludge raining from the sky. And I was like, okay, it's like sort of based around environmentalism and like pollution in the Zora area and maybe a little bit
and then the Gorons are just addicted to crack rocks.
And they're just sitting there munching on their fucking thing.
Their eyes are red. They're just going crazy, dude.
It's so funny. But yeah, talking about the verticality of the fire dungeon, fire temple, that kind of verticality, I agree with you in the context of that specifically that one's verticality. It's like, no, I'm not fucking doing that. But I think on the other hand, the lightning temple being really easy to access all of the floors and feeling like I could really manage and use ascend and my ultra hand abilities and the light mirrors to really interesting ways. That was an amazing temple.
That felt like an actual Zelda. Like that to me felt like a Zelda temple, especially using the mirrors. Just it was so tight. It was so closed in. It didn't feel like the others. Yeah. And I think we're both in agreement that is the best one by far.
Oh, easily. And I also don't know if this was because the game changes the level of the enemies depending on what order you visit them in. But when I was in there, it was like fucking super hard ass Zonai
Dude.
guys.
Well,
they were crazy. I think it must just bump them up a level.
Each temple you do, the enemies get stronger.
Okay,
I won't say what the boss. I don't know if the bosses get more health. I won't say what the boss is for the lightning temple.
Fucking boss,
dude. That is first of all, I think all 4 bosses are awesome in this game.
Yeah, they're great, and the mini bosses. There's multiple mini bosses.
The fucking lightning temple boss was easily the hardest boss in the game for me. It's not. It was not even close.
No, it's not. So far, it's not even close for me either. Yeah.
That was interesting because it was a similar thing in Breath of the Wild where Thunderblight Ganon was easily the hardest in that game as well. And I mean, maybe it was just because you do it last, but like the boss of the Water Temple was fucking easy. Same with the Fire Temple, honestly. That's probably the easiest one in the game. Well, hell, even the one in the Wind Temple, they're all pretty easy. And I don't have an issue with that. I've seen a lot of people saying the bosses are too easy in this game. I'm fine with that if the set pieces are cool and it looks fun and there's really good music. The Lightning Temple boss was actually really hard.
Yeah. I think it has something to do with much like the Gibdo, it can't be hurt unless it's been zapped first, or basically can't be hurt unless it's been zapped first. So it has that going for it, which none of the other bosses really had.
Well, the Water Temple one, you needed to get water on it.
Get it out of its thing,
and it was easy. I guess you could have used electric choo-choos on the Lightning Temple boss. I just used I didn't do that. However, I did use water choo-choos on the Water Temple boss.
I think I tried throwing a splash fruit at it, and maybe I missed something. I don't think I used that. But
the range isn't great.
It's that combined with the fact that halfway through it summons a fuck ton of Gibdos, and then you have to deal with those as well, and they're charging at you, and I'm sitting there, and I think this is the final reason. Riju charges slower than the other ones, or at least feels like she does.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're sitting there and she's charged, and that's fine, but you got to wait for her to run up to you so you can click on her or like find your way to her. And then the thing's shooting fucking tornadoes at you, and then it's running away while her bubble is expanding at the fucking
slowly
at the speed of a goddamn sloth.
Speed of molasses, yeah.
and then you have to make sure that it's overlapping, because if you hit the thing with an arrow and it freaks out and runs away, then it's moving out of the zone. There's just so many converging factors that I think made it a fun fight, and certainly the hardest. I mean, I died in there 3 or 4 times, and each time I was running out of my meals and stuff. I started eating meals that I had cooked for other effects, but I needed hearts. I needed fucking hearts, because this thing, it's like a goddamn truck. It would take like 3/4 of my health, and I have like 20 hearts at this point. It was easily the hardest boss, without a fucking doubt. But it was cool. I got through it. So I really did enjoy it. I think the Lightning Temple's definitely my favorite.
Yeah, I think you posed the idea of ranking the temples.
I did.
Yeah. Do you want to do that now? I mean, I think.
Sure.
Yeah. So I mean, there's only you've done 4, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So
is there a 5th one? There's probably a 5th one.
Well, let's just rank the 4 that we have here.
Okay.
So I think we're both in agreement.
Lightning smiling bastard.
Lightning Temple is definitely number 1.
Yeah, that's my number 1.
It's so. Do you include the lead up in your ranking?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The number 2 is Wind Temple. I think that's a safe.
I agree.
Especially just because of that boss.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that the Tulin's story, having to learn to work with others, I think is, for me, the most compelling of any of the sages' stories that we do. I like the other ones. I think Yunobo's is kind of like cut short. It feels a little bit like half-assed. You don't really feel like you get to know his 2 Offrack and Libdo, or whatever the hell their names are. His 2 little fucking buddies. He like child slavery. I don't know. It's really weird. But in my mind, the Wind Temple and the Water Temple are very close in terms of their quality. I like the lead up to them quite a bit. I think the lead up in the Wind Temple is a little bit better. The puzzles in the dungeons I thought were about on par. And with how short they were and how difficult they were. But Tulin's ability is easily the best one. No fucking, it's not even close. No comparison. And I want to get to those in a little bit. But I found his story to be a little bit more compelling than Sidon's story. Sure. Yeah, the Wind Temple is my number 2.
Okay, and then 3rd would be Water Temple, I guess, and then Fire Temple.
For me,
I'd probably swap and put Water Temple at the bottom. But I don't know if we're concluding the lead up. Actually, yeah, Fire Temple's probably the worst. Yeah, so we're pretty much in complete agreement.
The Fire Temple lead up, like climbing Death Mountain, was just like me
That's how I play the game.
Fucking around.
That's just how I play the game. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't very interesting. But like the whole riddles thing for the water temple, I thought was awesome. Especially the swimming up the waterfall and finding the rocks that make the teardrop shape.
Yes,
dude.
Well, no, dude, I was stuck for a little bit because I couldn't look it up. And typically, if I'm in a game and I get stuck, I just look it up pretty quickly. I was just running around for like 30 minutes, and I was like, what the fuck do I do? And then I saw it, and I was like, it's such a cool moment. But before I guess, I want to talk about this real quick. You mentioned the Tullen story, and that's kind of what I've been focusing on now is the side adventures, not the side quests, but the side adventures now. Of which there are 60 in the game. I think I've done about 35, so I've done over half. I know you said you have your house in Terrytown, which means you've done a couple of them as well.
I've done plenty of them.
Right. How are you feeling about these? I think overall, I don't remember how many I did in Breath of the Wild. They definitely feel higher quality. I feel like I can connect to the characters more. There was a really cool one with in fact, I think these were actually just side quests, but with in Terrytown with Colton, one of the two little gremlin motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Where he asked you to take pictures for him, and I did that entire side quest. It was really cool. And like you get like statues in the town. It's really fucking cool.
I'm excited.
These side quests and side adventures in this game feel. I think they're a lot better than Breath of the Wild. Maybe I'm just misremembering Breath of the Wild, but or even just the story with fucking mushroom hair Hudson.
Oh, Cece. Oh, sorry. Oh,
not Cece.
Not mushroom hat.
Yeah.
By the way, we need to talk about that fucking quest. The Kakariko one.
That quest is awesome as well.
But, Hudson's thing with his family and everything, and like him not quite feeling like he is up to snuff, like supporting his the Gerudo culture of his daughter, and having her like teaching her grandma a few words, and also. I really love how Terrytown has evolved to have like this whole area where they're like experimenting with Zonai stuff, and they've got this racetrack. It's like what I loved all of that. I thought that was really, really, really fantastic. And, and building the hot air balloon that she paints yellow like the sun, and then you're like going up in it, and they're having this heartfelt moment. Like, you fucking kidding me? This is great. This is awesome.
Well, Tucker, are you on Team CC?
I did support CC. Yes.
Yeah, me too.
yeah. Because the other guy was just kind of like stuffy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe this is like my not conservative brain, but I'm like, this guy's just like kind of like, I don't know. He just doesn't want shit to change.
He's red pilled.
Yeah. And then Cece's like, oh, everything's fucking crazy. I'm like, okay, so maybe she's a little too crazy for me, but I think it's kind of funny. So, and she like is eating carrots in the barn at midnight. that was hilarious. That was so fucking funny. But yeah, Kakariko. I think that and Terrytown are the two best.
Hateno.
Oh, Hateno, sorry. Kakariko is where Paya is, right?
Yeah. Another really cool side quest, which I guess I probably have not done.
No, I've done most of it. I still can't get to the big ring because the guy's like, "Fuck you, go away."
So that's what that's what I'm talking about. That
I'm
quest.
Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But also Lurlin.
Dude, so cool. So cool.
Oh my God.
Yes.
What a great side quest.
Dude, okay. I do have a complaint with this game a little bit. With these sections, I think it's really cool that they have these fortresses now, and there's just a health bar. Mm-hmm. However, every single time I have encountered one of these, there's always end up. It's always that one motherfucker. Now with Laurelin, it was almost like a puzzle. It's a specific thing, and it took me a while to figure out. And I was like, oh, why? Because I thought I won't spoil what it is for those that haven't done it, but I thought those were classified as like a separate area, so I figured it wouldn't count. So I didn't even think to check it.
I agree.
But there's another pirate ship on one of the edges of the map, and I went to that. Or even on Eventide, there's one of these similar things.
I've not done Eventide yet.
And it's really frustrating when there's just like a Lizalfos chilling in the water, and you just have to go find him. I don't like that. But Lurelin, dude, that's one of the things that I think a lot of people were looking forward to with this game is seeing how the village has evolved, and that's really the only one that changed drastically. I would say, obviously, Kakariko has the ring now, and Hateno has all this mushroom fashion culture.
Yeah.
But Lurelin straight up got obliterated, and then there's a whole quest after that of rebuilding it, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah, and that's really what cements that area, and that quest is super memorable in my mind. I remember visiting there twice, maybe 3 times in Breath of the Wild. I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's a much smaller town than any of the other ones. Of course, the ones where the other species, non-Hylian species, are living are more substantial. They have their own architecture and everything. And with Lurelin, I was like, okay, it's a little seaside town. There's like a shop, but it's really whatever in Breath of the Wild. But having it be destroyed, taken over by pirates, and having you not only beat them, which was kind of hard for me. When I did it the first time, I died a couple times. Because they've got a lot of black bokoblins there, and those guys hit like a fucking truck.
They be smacking you.
But and the big boss one in the middle, that guy was an asshole. But then rebuilding it afterwards and sort of getting to know the different buildings that you're rebuilding and using your ultra hand powers, and then going to get the rice and the wood. I really adored that, and that element, the getting the logs part to rebuild, to like give it to Bolson. That is my most specific moment of using Tears of the Kingdom physics and Ultra Hand, putting things together to just do something off the wall. And so what I did is I went up the hill to chop down some trees to bring down some logs, and then I was like, how am I going to get these fucking logs down the hill? Like, it's pretty far away, and like I don't want to just like hold them above my head like a jackass and like walk there.
That's what I did.
So I made them into a clump, and then I put wheels on the clump, and then a steering wheel on the top, and I just drove a pile of fucking logs down the hill. I made it into a car, and I drove them into town. And that's just such a cool, memorable thing for me. And my mom was in town when she saw me do that. And she's like, "Why? What are you doing? Why do you know that you can do this?" And I'm like, "This game is just fucking crazy, man." I made a pile of logs into a car, and I drove it into town. Like, it's so much fun. It's so cool.
See, I don't know if I was like not paying attention to the dialogue when he asked for logs, but I was a little confused because he said no palm trees, right? And I was looking around, I was like, I don't see any other trees. And then there are some up on the hill, but I was like, there's no way they want me to... I honestly didn't think the game would expect that from me, to take those logs from so far away. So I was like chopping out trees, gathering wood like I normally would. And he was like, oh, you can't use that wood. I was like, oh shit. So I went up there, and then of course there's the imposter trees, which are awesome.
The what? Oh yeah, the
fake trees. I don't know what they're called.
They got a funny name. They got a pun name.
And then instead of being smart like you and making a car, I literally just combined them in the laziest way possible. I just every which way direction, just clump of logs, and I just threw it. I just launched it down the cliff, and they actually stayed together, so it worked out. I did that. I made that trip twice. But yeah, that quest is really cool. Have you been to Korok Forest, Tucker?
I've not. No, I haven't even tried that yet. There's still plenty of areas I still need to go to. I haven't done any of the labyrinths either. I've
only done one. So dude, this game's so big. I mean, I'm still playing it just slowly, less and less each time.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I feel we're gonna be talking about this for a while.
Yeah.
There's a lot. So I think that's enough for this week. Next week you will probably have beaten it, I imagine.
Yes, I'd like to have finished the story.
So perhaps maybe next week we'll do a big old spoiler warning and talk story stuff.
Sure. Yeah. Unless you want to make that its own video, like a spoiler discussion.
I'm not sure. I want to do something with Caleb because I haven't really talked to him about the game yet, but he's playing it pretty slow. I think he's only done one dungeon with his like 70 hours. So
jeez.
Yeah, he's taking his time. He got all the memories, I think. He just beelined all the memories.
So did I. I did those. I just looked up where they were, and then
you should have looked up by looking at a sky tower.
Sorry, no. What I mean is there's like the map.
They show you the
and I screenshotted it, and I was like, okay, so I need to mark this, mark that.
Yeah. That's cool. All right, let's get back into the news, Tucker. So we have talked about this. We've talked about this for the past 2 weeks, but it is official now. It was actually revealed before we posted last week's episode, but we recorded early. Mortal Kombat 1 has been revealed. Not the biggest news story this week, I would say, but just putting it out here. Yeah, coming to Switch September 19th, 2023. Most notably, Tucker, the reason I really wanted to include it, even though we've talked about it pretty in depth, it's a cool idea. It's a sequel to Mortal Kombat 11, plot-wise, because they reset the timeline in that game, and now everything's back to Liu Kang's ideal world. This is, I believe, not counting games that are bundles, so in this case, Skyrim Anniversary Edition, which was $50 with a $20 bundle add-on. This is the first $70 Switch game, I think.
Oh.
This is a $70 Switch game, retail. Now, caveat, maybe NBA is, which I don't really count.
I have no idea.
In terms of like a regular-ass game...
Well,
and
of course, games, though, they do like the Legacy Edition, so it's like, those are a little cheaper, aren't they? I was.
Yeah, I think they are. Now, in my own stupidity moment here, of course, Tears of the Kingdom $70 as well.
True.
But in terms of like a third party. Third party. So this is a pretty big deal, I feel like. We are definitely at that point. I'm accepting of it at this point. I would never buy this on Switch. I can't imagine it's going to run very well. I don't know how Mortal Kombat 11 ran on Switch.
No.
But it's coming. You don't have any interest in the news, do you, Tucker? You're not.
Sorry?
You don't have any interest in this, do you?
No, well, I do actually. I would like to like you with fighting games.
I want to so bad. Mortal Kombat is so cool. It's such a cool franchise, and I feel like I'm missing out.
Well, so because of this, and because of Mortal Kombat 11, actually, I have that, or my roommate does, and there being this really cool focus. I think NetherRealm being one of the top in the business in terms of story modes in their fighting games. Injustice 2's story mode, which I have not played, is highly lauded. Same with Mortal Kombat 11, and I'm sure they're going to continue it here and also into the future for whatever other projects they end up taking on. And this being sort of a refresh to the storyline, but also having this tie into the lore. And I would love to be both a Street Fighter and a Mortal Kombat guy this year. But for me,
and Tekken,
it comes down to because Tekken.
It's a great.
We'll see if that hits.
Probably not this year, but still coming soon. Yeah.
I would love to be into all of these series, especially because they've got crazy fucking lore and crazy characters, and I'm a lore head. It's crazy. But unfortunately, for Mortal Kombat, almost none of the games are accessible. Mortal Kombat X is still on sale because it was a last-gen game. I believe, you can play Mortal Kombat 9, which is just called Mortal Kombat, on
Xbox.
Yeah. Xbox if you've got the disc, because that was a 360 game. But otherwise, tough fucking toodles. Like, the games just aren't available.
Give us that collection, Ed Boon, with the K.
Yeah. And then Capcom, Godspeed, they put every fucking version of Street Fighter and Street Fighter 2 in a collection, and I have it on Switch.
No SF4, though.
Those games. No, yeah. Though, Street Fighter 4 Ultra is on PlayStation Plus. So I have access to that.
Street Fighter 4 Ultras?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so they're all on there.
Yes.
Then on PlayStation. Okay, interesting.
And Street Fighter 5, yeah.
Wow.
So Street Fighter, I might earnestly try to get into. I'd like to play the story mode of Mortal Kombat 11. Probably not the DLC because I'm a fucking jackass and I don't play DLC.
It blatantly doesn't matter that it's DLC. It's just clearly important.
I'll look up a cutscene. But for both of these, I mean, I don't know how experienced you are with playing fighting games, if you consider yourself good at them or not. But I am so fucking bad.
I'm good at Smash Bros, but that's not what we're talking about here. Yeah, that's different.
Same for me. Yeah, but before Street Fighter 6, I want to try as many Street Fighter games as I can. Maybe you and I can play some online together. I don't know if you have. Do you have the Switch collection?
Yeah.
Yeah. We can play some of that. We can play some of 4. Play some of 5. 6 is coming out in just a couple days. I would by the end of this year, I would like to be into both Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Fucking put it on the books.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I know by now I shouldn't buy any non-Switch game at launch. Like, I shouldn't buy Street Fighter 6. I know I shouldn't, because I know it'll be half price by Black Friday. But I know when I see people tweeting about it on June 2nd, I'm gonna be like, I'm a little gribbling. I'm gonna play Street Fighter so fucking bad. And then I'll buy it, play it for fucking 1 hour, and be like, okay. So I'm not to be showing some real self-restraint. Now, unrelated, Tucker, are you getting Diablo 4?
No, but I've never played Diablo. I would like to.
I'm thinking about it. So if you get it, maybe we can
Are you in the same boat? Have you played any Diablo?
No, I haven't. But we talked about this with Minecraft Dungeons. That was my first fucking dungeon crawler.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in Diablo. We'll see.
What about Final Fantasy 16? Ooh.
Well, that's later in the month.
Well, no, I'm just talking about like a big third-party, not Switch game.
Oh, I'm getting that. I'm getting that for sure.
Yeah. God.
I'm confident in Final Fantasy 16.
Oh, June.
June's a big month. June's a big month for us to be talking about not Switch games.
Yeah. Yeah, none of these games are on Switch, obviously.
Mortal Kombat 1 will be there, and Mortal Kombat 11 is. So
yes,
none of these upcoming games are. Yeah, I'm low-key surprised Diablo 4 isn't, because Diablo 3 was.
And 2.
But and 2 can.
Hellmastered.
I wouldn't be surprised. Well,
Resurrected, I think.
They'll wait until Switch 2, I guess, and just do like a late port with all the DLC for Diablo 4, probably. All right, Tucker, this is the funniest news story of all time. So I was a little sad last week. No, not Pragmata. Sorry, I didn't show up at the Sony showcase. So I was a little sad last week because literally right after we finished recording, and we had talked about it on the episode of the podcast, the Pokemon Company announced a release date for Pokemon Home support for Scarlet and Violet. They announced it. This is so funny. And it was announced to be releasing on May 23rd or 24th. I can't remember exactly. Then they stepped back. Like they straight up announced it. Like, very blatantly, it was announced. The tweets are still there. But then later,
then
like
themselves.
Then the next day, they quote tweeted themselves saying, "Sorry guys, the Mudsdale got ahead of itself. This is not coming out." What the fuck? First of all, how does this happen?
Well, first of all, it should be there at launch.
Yes. How does this happen?
All,
why is it taking so long to get this out? They said spring. We are literally at the tail end of spring. This obviously means it's done, I assume, which means it's coming within a few weeks. Because we mentioned last week maybe they were saving it for a Pokemon Presents, and I got a little sad when they announced it because I was like, oh, I guess that means no Pokemon Presents. I think that's completely on the table now. I think
sure.
Maybe they meant to save it for that.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened here. In fact, maybe conspiracy brain. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they're gonna have a Pokemon Presents like the same day as the PlayStation Showcase, and they were like, "Let's not do it then," or something.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's so weird. I've never seen. This isn't Game Freak's fault. Game Freak doesn't make Pokemon Home. I think Ilka does. Ilka does. Ilka's in charge of this fucking mess,
which is already not a good sign.
And of course, Pokemon Company in charge of when it actually releases. But there's definitely a level of incompetence going on here that is unprecedented. I feel like. How do you announce an update for a piece of software with a release date? God damn it!
I think the funniest thing about it for me is the fact that they are playing coy. Like, they announced it with a release date, a pretty imminent release date, and they were like, they didn't even give a real reason. They're like, oh, oops, we're not actually doing that.
Right.
And they didn't delete the tweets. It wasn't a thing that they're like trying to cover up. They're like, no, nah.
Not yet. Sorry, guys.
It's almost like weird, half-assed, like no excuse, but also simultaneously that is an excuse.
They didn't even apologize for it. They were just like, it's not happening.
And but then even then, it's not even like, okay, here's a window. Like, expect it in early summer, midsummer.
We still have spring. So I think it'll probably come out next month, which is technically spring, although most people would consider June summer. But yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened there.
Very weird. Very weird.
This happened yesterday. I don't know if you saw this, Tucker. I'm going to mention it because while most of this publisher's games do not come to Switch, a lot of them do. They have a lot of smaller stuff, and this is a huge publisher. They have, I think, over 130 studios.
Oh, God. Oh, I heard about this.
So I feel kind of bad.
This is crazy, man.
So Embracer Group, of course, I believe Swedish company. They have been acquiring for the past 6 years just everybody. They own or they don't own 2K. They own Gearbox. They own
THQ.
THQ. That's a big one. That's probably the most prominent for Nintendo fans because they do the SpongeBob publishing and Kingdom of Amalur and all that stuff.
Well, also with Gearbox, there's a couple of Gearbox collections and Gearbox games on there.
Sure, and now
New Tales from the Borderlands was there last year.
Sure. Now I'm curious. I want to actually get this right. Of course, most recently they bought the IPs for Tomb Raider and Deus Ex, which, of course, is the rumor right now that, and they own Crystal Dynamics now. I'm gonna look up. They own some other massive companies. They own Dark Horse Media, which is the comic book brand. They own. They also recently acquired Middle Earth.
Yes.
They own Middle Earth.
Oh no! Does that mean Lord of the Rings Gollum is
that
them?
is theirs? Yeah, they are having the worst possible week. For those that don't know, Lord of the Rings Gollum. First of all, the game leaked entirely 2 days ago, which is hilarious. I was looking at the gameplay. This is one of the worst looking games I've ever seen. It has a 36 on Metacritic. Worst reviewed game of the year.
I watched ScaleUp's review this morning. It's so fucking funny. This is a funny game. Don't play it.
It's a goofy game. Look up gameplay. It's very funny.
Also,
world's first crawling simulator.
Can anyone confirm this? I believe I remember that Lord of the Rings Gollum was the first next-gen game to be announced.
It was one of them.
Yeah.
It is not on PS4, I don't think. Right? So,
because Lord of the Rings Gollum just needs the power of next-gen. Could not run on old hardware.
But yeah, back to Embracer
story.
Group. Yeah, back to Embracer Group. They also owned Koch Media, now PlayOn. I forgot they changed their name. Yeah. As well as Saber Interactive, which is Aspire, which does all the Star Wars stuff recently. So they own a lot.
And
some would say
great on that KOTOR remake.
Oh, absolutely. Some would argue they own way too much.
I would argue that.
I would definitely argue that. This is too much for one Swedish little company to manage. Yeah. They are a publicly traded company. And I guess at some point, we don't know
Do not buy. Official Nintendo Select Podcast financial advice. Do not buy stock in Embracer Group.
I mean... So basically what happened was in October, according to them, they had entered a basically gentleman's agreement to do some sort of deal that we don't know if it was an acquisition related thing or what, but basically they were going to get $2 billion in some capacity. They were going to have $2 billion infused into their company. And that was going to be great for them. It was going to be a huge deal. The night before their investor meeting, that third party company, whatever it was that was going to give, unnamed, we don't know who it was, backed out of the deal. Their stock plummeted over 40%. Jesus. Their estimated earnings has plummeted about 50% for this next fiscal year. Tucker, I bring this up. First of all, I don't have the CEO's name. Lars Wingefors or Wingefors. There's a video of him on a talk show or something. I have never seen a CEO of a company. Presumably this guy is a multimillionaire. I have never seen a man look so broken. He's on the verge of tears. And I can't help but feel bad for him, but also, why do you enter a gentleman's agreement and put that on your stock forecast? You fucked up.
Yeah.
But I think this is most interesting because obviously last year they acquired Tomb Raider, they own Borderlands, they have Deus Ex, they own Lord of the Rings now.
These are big goddamn deals.
This is a big deal, and they just lost 40% of their market value. There's no way this doesn't have major repercussions. Studios are going to get shut down. People are going to lose their jobs. This is bad.
Yeah. What I foresee happening here is that they will need to shed some of their incredible weight. They own so many studios and they're trying to publish so many games. And a lot of these are things that people are interested in. I mean, the reason they bought them is because they thought that all these things had value. I mean, varying degrees of value. I don't think Gearbox is at its highest right now. But the Tomb Raider's not having its big day, but these are IPs that are interesting. And someone else is going to buy these. Well, they're going to have to start selling. I mean, Crystal and Eidos have been shuffled around 6 Ways from Sunday over the last year. They're going to find their home somewhere else. And that'll be really interesting to see. And frankly, because of how wishy-washy Embracer has been, how weird their track record has been, how strange their business decisions of combining so many disparate corporations and publishers and developers that do not seem to go together, I think this is probably a good thing for everyone involved. I think the games industry will be healthier by these studios finding their home with other publishers. The funniest option is that Square buys back Crystal and Eidos, but that's not going to happen.
Can you imagine? They saw the reaction of Foam Stars. They're like, all right, we need to get Crystal Dynamics back in here.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, obviously, we don't hope for
Avengers 2, let's go.
Yeah. We're not hoping for anybody to lose their jobs, but
no,
the reality is people are going to lose their jobs in some capacity because they own, like I said, over 130 studios. They don't even. Here's the thing that's weird about Embracer for me. They don't even release that many games. They release a lot of like B-tier stuff. Like this year, they had the new SpongeBob game, which I'm sure probably did pretty well. Those games
Cosmic Shake.
Yeah, the Cosmic Shake, and but in terms of like notable AAA stuff that's done, let's say, pretty well for them. They haven't done much. They did have Dead Island 2, which actually came out and was a big success. It has sold over 2 million copies, which is very surprising, I think. No one really expected that to happen. They had Saints Row last year, which I believe that was like a $50 million game, I think, for some reason. And I think it did well, but I don't know if it made that much money for them. In terms of other big IP that they've released recently, I can't really think of much. Of course, they have the Star Wars games, and KOTOR would be huge if they get it out. Yeah, but they're not going to get it out.
Even the biggest Star Wars games are not them. They're still from EA.
That's EA, with Fallen Order.
Since they do own Gearbox, I guess they did Tiny Tina's Wonderlands last year.
I didn't hear anybody talk about that game.
Oh, I didn't do anything.
To be fair, I think they owned Borderlands, or I think they owned it when Borderlands 3 came out, which was successful.
A big deal, yeah.
Yeah, but not a good sign. And like you said, I would not be surprised if companies get shut down or studios get shut down and they start selling stuff off.
There's so much of that going around these days, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Also, most recently,
Pixel Opus.
Yeah, Pixel Opus, Sony's first party studio shut down. Also, most recently, I think the last thing Embracer acquired was Limited Run. They own Limited Run games, so
that's crazy.
Which is interesting because one of the co-founders of Limited Run just left, so maybe something bad's happening there.
Oh God. Keep
an eye on that, collectors. All right. We have
so maybe less SpongeBob games on Switch.
Yeah, guys. To be fair, this does. I don't know. I feel like there's a pretty good balance. This is all the retro Star Wars games that come out on Switch. It's SpongeBob games and all these
that's a good
like 7th gen ports. They did a lot of those, but then there is like the new stuff they make is mostly exclusive to PS5, but this will affect Nintendo. in some capacity. We'll see.
Yeah, well, especially because they are doing those AA and also port games. Those are a lot of the third-party support on Switch.
Actually, yeah.
Is when you're seeing... Sorry, what was that?
Darksiders is a big one for Switch.
Oh, yeah, great point. That's THQ. Whenever we see in directs that big third-party games are coming, it's usually not the biggest new stuff. It is older ports. It is smaller things. And they're probably the biggest third-party publisher on Switch that like does a bunch of stuff. I mean, most companies other than like Capcom's doing collections at the wazoo, but everyone else is doing like, you got your shitty Ezio collection or whatever the fuck, and like, have a couple ports of like, early PS3 Gen 360 titles. But THQ and other Embracer publishers, they put out a lot of games, so this will be bad. But also, the Switch is at a point where that's okay. Like,
yeah, no one's really asking.
It already has all the third-party ports, and
anymore.
we got the BioShock collection, the Borderlands collection, and XCOM and all that. So it's like, we're fine now. Like, it's okay.
Yeah. We'll have to see what happens with this. I would imagine. I mean, this was all so sudden. I wouldn't be surprised to see some drastic moves pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right. We had one final news story this week. That's kind of two things that I want to dive into a deeper talking point. So, of course, we mentioned last week PlayStation announced a showcase for May 24th, and we have seen that showcase, Tucker. We actually did a full in-depth discussion about it on Backlog Banter, your channel, with Abram. So go check out that for really in-depth thoughts on the PlayStation side of things. But they did have some indie games announced that are all coming to Switch as well. So I'm going to run through them all, then we can talk about which ones that you want to talk about in depth. So only a couple. We have Neva from Nomada Studio, the creators of Grease. Is it Gris or Grease?
Gree.
Okay. That's coming out in 2024. We have Cat Quest Pirates of the Caribbean. This is the third Cat Quest game from the Gentle Brothers that's coming out next year. The Plucky Squire by All Possible Futures had a new trailer that is still coming this year. And that's actually it. There was also announced the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, which is currently only announced for PlayStation. I feel like that could maybe happen. I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical, but I feel like that could come to Switch. Maybe not day and date.
PS2 games,
right?
So,
however, they weren't announced for Xbox, which makes me think maybe Sony actually locked down that, but they didn't lock down the MGS3 remake. So I would keep your eye on
Xbox.
The collection. No, it isn't. It's not announced currently.
Okay.
So maybe that's because you can play the Metal Gear Solid HD collection from 360 backwards compatible.
Wait.
Maybe that's why.
Yesterday, 9 p.m., Nintendo Life, Metal Gear Solid: The Master Collection Volume 1 announced for the latest platforms. So it might be coming to Switch.
So this would definitely be the biggest thing out of here, if that comes, because those games have never been on a Nintendo platform. Not confirmed, but I think it's 50-50 shot of these coming to Switch. Konami's been pretty supportive of Switch with their collections, and this would fit that bill. But yeah, were there any of these indie games that you wanted to mention? I just want to shout out, of course, Plucky Squire. We talked about that last week as one of our most anticipated games. I'm very excited for that. I really hope it does hit. That new trailer was fantastic. And I think you're excited for Neva, right?
Yes, I am. I'm excited for all these games. It'd also be really fun to have the Metal Gear games on a portable system. Actually, I think I could probably get a couple of them on Vita, but I'm not playing on Vita. But I have never gotten fully into Metal Gear. It's always been a series that I've sort of looked at like with hopeful reverence. Like I want to be a part of it.
Same.
But I think that this collection on modern hardware, it doesn't seem like they're doing too much to them, but that's fine.
That's fine if they're planning like a remake of each game, I'd imagine. So.
We'll see. Yeah. I'd love to play them on Switch. Like honestly, that would be fucking fantastic. If they run well and they look good and everything. Again, Metal Gear Solid 1 is a PS1 game. Yeah. In my humble opinion, PS1 games are the worst looking generation of games to ever happen. There are some that look very good. I mean, games that take a sort of 2D perspective, like an Oddworld, those games look pretty good.
Those RPGs look good from that era.
Yeah, exactly. There's some pixel art games. The Final Fantasy games still hold up pretty well. But seeing like Snake's fucking polygon ass PS1 ass face, no facial features. Yeah.
It has a certain charm to it.
It does, but we'll see. You and I might end up playing some Metal Gear this year.
Maybe. Cool. Even if it doesn't, I might try it on PS5 because
that's
similarly to fighting games and Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, I have a similar relationship with stealth games. I Metal Gear Solid is such a cool idea, and I like what I've seen from what I've played of Kojima games. I played like, I don't know, maybe 10 hours of Death Stranding, and I enjoyed it.
You and I are in such the exact same boat on all this shit.
I fucking, every time I play a stealth, like a true stealth game, or even games with stealth light elements, I fucking hate it. But I want to like it because I think the world and characters of Metal Gear sound so cool and look so cool from what I hear from other people, and I know there's something there. But every time, to be fair, I've only tried to play MGS4 and MGS5, and MGS5 I think is very different.
We all know that.
So maybe going back to these classics would be just the thing I need to get me in there. But I'll definitely try it out.
MGS5 Pocket Edition, like they did with Final Fantasy 15.
Hey, that was a PS3 game and 360, so it could come.
Yeah.
Yeah, and interesting about this Master Collection is it is Volume 1.
Yes.
So I think Abram in our discussion was putting the theory out there. Maybe we get Peace Walker. Maybe we'll definitely get Peace Walker and like Metal Gear Acid, I believe.
And 4.
And 4, yeah, of course.
Which has never been released.
Yeah. I'm waiting for that Metal Gear Survive port to switch.
Oh, also, I believe I heard that the Master Collection also includes Metal Gear.
Metal Gear 1 and 2 on NES, yeah.
Yeah. That's fucking crazy.
And I would say that's a step in the right direction in terms of hoping it comes to Switch.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's a history there.
That's really exciting.
Yeah. Konami.
So cool.
Something I've learned over the past couple of years of like Konami's resurgence is that low-key, I don't know if I care if they make new games. Just get all your old shit out there so I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yes.
They've done a great job with that.
Bomberman collection. There's so many goddamn Bomberman games. And they're all old. Except for Bomberman R. And I guess Bomberman R Online, if you count that as a separate game. I
forgot that happened. Yeah, it is separate. Yeah. I think it's
now they're doing 2. Bomberman R2 this year. Get hyped.
Yeah.
I played a lot of Super Bomberman R. Well, when the Switch came
actually?
Out. Yeah, me and my friends loved that game because it had a 8-player multiplayer in it at launch, and so we would just get all our fucking Joy-Con together and we would sit around the tiny screen at the lunch table and play fucking Bomberman together. I have not played that game since 2017, but I'd love to try I'm such a games history nerd. I think you guys are learning that about me as we go. Like I just have like such a weird reverence and interest in like the history of all these franchises. Bomberman is one that nobody fucking talks about the older Bomberman games. Bomberman as a character is cool, and we know what the gameplay looks like. But like, there's like 10 fucking Bomberman games, and I couldn't name them, and I'm into games history.
Bomberman 94, I think, is one of them.
Remember the gritty reboot one? Did that end up happening?
No, I think it did on original Xbox.
Bomberman 0.
Yeah, that happened. I think.
Yeah, it come out.
I think that's on original Xbox. Now we do have one other thing I want to talk about from the PlayStation Showcase, but before we get to that, briefly, Mythic Mars wrote in. What did you think of the PS Showcase? So, like I said, we did a full hour-and-a-half discussion on
very good discussion
on Backlog Banter. Yeah, it was a great discussion between both of us and Abram. We don't need to get too much into this because it is mostly PlayStation. But like I've said before, we keep our eye on the competition. We also both love PlayStation as well as Nintendo and Xbox.
Yeah. We were both goddamn excited for this yesterday.
Yes, I think, and I put out like a little tweet thread. The more I sit and think about that PlayStation Showcase, the more I fucking hate it. It was really bad. Like I would actually say it was bad. Even no matter what context you're reviewing it in, I think it was a bad showcase because they didn't show any fucking games. Yeah. They showed CGI trailers for new IP. I think MGS Delta, the remake of Snake Eater, the third game in the series. That being a CG trailer, that's disappointing, but it's fine because we know what that game is going to be, or at least have an idea of what it'll be because we've played MGS3, or a CGI trailer for even something like Marathon from Bungie, which is their new extraction shooter. Of course, Marathon was one of their original IP from the Apple days in the 90s.
Which I learned yesterday, by the way. I'd never fucking heard of that in my life.
Now, it being an extraction shooter, that's a new concept, but you can get an idea and a picture in your head of what that will be.
Yeah.
But
Bungie's gameplay, world design, we're familiar with this.
Right. But what I'm always most interested in is first party announcements. And while Sony did have some in the showcase, they were from developers that we literally don't know anything about because they have no history. Yeah. And they were just CGI trailers with no dates. And that's just always disappointing. I think that is just a bad...
That's not true. Concord's next year, buddy.
I saw that. Yeah, it actually is next year. And we saw nothing of it, Tucker. No, we know nothing. And even Fair Games, which is the game by Haven, I've seen some people saying like, oh, this game actually looks pretty cool. And I'll admit, I liked Payday. This looks like a futuristic kind of Watch Dogs style Payday. In any other context outside of a Sony show, if Sony was not publishing that game, people would be obliterating it. Because It looks like the most generic Watch Dogs Ubisoft shit, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Of all time.
Yeah. Oh,
it's made by Jade Raven, who made Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs.
Yes.
That is the reason.
Yeah, I find it to be bizarre. And I find it bizarre that people are defending this because as we got super in-depth on, and frankly, I think we can pull this into Nintendo as well, because you and I had a very similar kind of disappointment. I think maybe not to the same kind of scale, but a similar kind of disappointment with the last Nintendo Direct that was in February. There is a very strong feeling for me that each showcase that a platform holder does should be pushing forward the narrative of their console and continuing momentum that they have built forward. A balance is the most important thing. Announcing new ideas, showing off games already announced, and telling us what's going to be coming next, giving us a direct idea of this direction. What is the breadth and the health of your ecosystem going to be like? And for both the February Nintendo Direct and the PlayStation Showcase we saw yesterday, neither of them gave us a guideline for what the next 12 months of their system is going to be.
I think that's the scariest part, Tucker. I think it did. I think it did give us a guideline for the next 12 months, which is nothing. There's no lens you can view it through and think that's not disappointing.
Yeah.
Because it is all live service games and Spider-Man.
And for Nintendo, it was a Pikmin trailer and Tears of the Kingdom.
I have no doubt that Nintendo's going to announce more games for this year. Yeah. But Sony doesn't do showcases very often. Now, if they do another showcase in September, then this showcase won't matter in hindsight. We're going to be like, okay, whatever, it was fine. But if we go another 12 months, 18 months without a showcase announcing and like really showing off more first-party Sony stuff, that's horrible.
I think that there will be one end of this year, early beginning of next year. I think that they can't afford to do that because that would mean that there's no marquee titles.
I think there will be like a strong state of play around TGS. I think that's likely. But in terms of the first party stuff, I don't know. Obviously, we did get Helldivers announced for this year, which the more I was looking at it, Abram was right. There is gameplay just blatantly in that trailer.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that game could be fun. That's another game, though, I think in any other context, if that was a Jeff Keighley show, people would be like, what the fuck is this space? No one wants this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's fun. I know people liked Helldivers 1, although a completely different game from this. Just not what I wanted to see from Sony.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I kind of had a realization this morning. How I felt about this PlayStation Showcase is how I feel about, like you're saying, Summer Game Fest. Opening night live.
I don't remember any of these games after
Gamescom.
2 days.
And also, in my opinion, Xbox conferences usually feel like this. It's us seeing. Oh God, what's the? I think Avalanche is doing some sort of
Contraband.
Thank you. Seeing just a CG thing for that. Seeing a CG thing for Redfall a couple of years ago. Mostly shooters that kind of blend together. Some space games. A lot
of space games. That has been like the Jeff Keighley staple the past couple shows.
Yeah. I get so underwhelmed by those because they run together, and it's really only the few that have a distinct art style or from a studio that has some pedigree that jump out at you that are the saving graces of any of those. I mean, last year, 2 years ago, for Summer Game Fest opening out live, Jeff Keighley had the world premiere of fucking Elden Ring, and that was huge. That lit the fucking world on fire. I remember where I was when I watched that. I have never felt that way about any other showcase from Jeff Keighley. I mean, sometimes there's some cool stuff at the Game Awards. I'll give him credit for that. Or Xbox, because they have this sort of patina of modern AAA, high production value, CGI trailers, a weird title you're gonna forget. I did not expect that from PlayStation, because in my mind,
never done
PlayStation
a showcase
is, oh my God, Naughty Dog's putting out a game. Sony Santa Monica. Insomniac is announcing 2 games back to back. What the hell is this?
Well, not even just first party. I think in terms of third party stuff, it was relatively disappointing too. And I come to these conferences and showcases from the lens of I want new announcements. To be fair, in all fairness, Alan Wake was here, although there's a caveat to that, which I do actually want to talk about. I think about doing a video on it. But even something like Dragon's Dogma, that's not a new announcement. Capcom fucked themselves over by announcing that last year. Why'd they announce that last year with the title? That wasn't a new reveal. Usually, like I think back to even the state of play last year around June. announced Street Fighter 6 and Resident Evil 4, where there was nothing even close. That state of play was way better than this.
Yeah.
And that's just disappointing.
It absolutely was. That was the best state of play they ever done. I can't believe how good that was.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird.
Bizarre. And now all we can hope for is that because of the droughts that not only Nintendo had with that Direct in February and what Sony's having with the state of play, that means that, I mean, like I mentioned with the last Nintendo Direct, there's just so much pressure on both of these next showcases from both of these companies to be.
There was so much pressure on Sony for this one.
There was.
I don't think there's ever been more pressure on a showcase than this one, which, to be fair, maybe is clouding our judgment a little bit. I don't think so, though. I think I've slept on enough. I think it was just a bad showcase. Yeah, even just pacing-wise, it wasn't very good.
But, man, we could be in for forgetting about all this because they have the greatest fucking Nintendo Direct and Sony PlayStation Showcase coming up within the next 6 to 8 months. And we're the fucking happiest campers in the world, and every new game gets announced, and we're hearing about everything. It's not impossible for that to happen. Of course, that's another. You keep upping the expectations. It's gotta. Yeah. Will any of them hit that expectation? But this confirmed my fear in a way that I did not expect yesterday to confirm any worries. Which is so. Yeah, that's the PlayStation segment of this Nintendo podcast.
I look forward to the Xbox showcase in 2 weeks, and I'm sure there'll be some announcements from that we'll talk about here.
I think
and we'll talk
I have
about
high hopes.
Sure. I also do. I think they can't. Phil Spencer had to be so happy last night.
Yeah,
looking at Twitter.
Absolutely.
You know that man was just like sitting in bed like, fuck yeah. He's like, yes, sir. He's like, let's go. It's like, all right, get that State of Decay CGI trailer.
Yeah. Oh God.
Jesus Christ. Now, Tucker, there was something else from the showcase that I wanted to talk about, and this is actually what I'm gonna like kind of brand the episode as. I don't know how much we actually have to say about it, but it is very interesting. Mm-hmm. People ever since the Steam Deck came out have been very, very eager to jump on the idea that there can be a Switch killer. Because Nintendo has dominated your face, getting that Krispy Kreme.
Yeah. I got a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts for free yesterday because I'm a graduate. Now, what we figured out is that you can just bring your ID if it's around graduation time, and they'll give you a fucking free donuts. Like if I just keep my,
I might have to do this.
Do you have a college ID from your college?
I'll make a fake one.
Or
I can just lie.
Well, actually, no. It's not happening anymore. It was only yesterday, so you can't do it. But I'm planning next year to just bring my N card and just show it to them.
Do it again.
Or you can bring a capping down or your diploma and show it to them, and they'll give you a box of fucking donuts. So I got a bunch of donuts.
Show my high school diploma for 5 years ago.
Let's talk about the Q Light.
Yeah. So there's this mentality in the gaming industry that there can be a well, that's not the name of it. There's this mentality.
Project Q Light.
Right. Well, Project Q. Q Light was the rumored name. It is just Project Q. There's this mentality that there can be a Switch killer and that the Steam Deck can like take a part of Nintendo's lunch. Because Nintendo has dominated the handheld market literally for the past 30 years. Obviously, Sony in the past has tried to take a piece of that pie, and they have succeeded a little bit with the PSP. Of course, the Vita was a complete failure. But Sony's getting back into it in a way that I think a lot of people are just kind of left scratching their heads with the PlayStation Q Lite, or Q, Project Q, that Jim Ryan revealed. Jimothy Ryan.
How is there not a name for this, by the way?
Right, so this is we don't know pricing details on this, but this is a Wi-Fi device. Now, and there's a big misconception with this. People don't actually know what this does, Tucker. People think this is for cloud streaming. That's not what this is. You cannot stream games from the cloud on this device.
You have to stream it from your PlayStation 5.
You have to have a Wi-Fi connection, which, as you would expect, but it's streaming from your PlayStation 5 in your same house. Now, maybe you can play it and you can have your PS5 in another location and be across the country. I kind of doubt it, but this is very much something that is used for maybe if you want to play in bed or something. Yeah. This is a very niche product. And
incredibly.
To be fair, I haven't seen anybody saying like, "Oh, this is a Switch killer." That was more so for the Steam Deck. But it is interesting to see PlayStation kind of trying to get back into this a little bit. I don't know who is this for, Tucker.
I have no fucking clue. I honestly have no clue.
It's weird. If it was cloud streaming, I could maybe understand it. But you need to own a PS5, and you could already do all this on your phone.
Sure.
What I was looking for yesterday in that PlayStation showcase, because this was rumored and leaked from I think Andy Robinson at VGC. Or maybe Tom Henderson at Inside Gaming or Insider Gaming, whatever the hell it's called, was I wanted like a statement from them being like, oh, this is going to be way better than your current streaming is, because the Vita could do this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good. So if this has some sort of technology in there that makes the streaming and like low latency and that makes it really good, I think I might actually end up picking it up if it's cheap.
Sure.
Because I like yeah, no, it probably won't be. I like playing games in bed, so if I could do that, that'd be pretty nice. The design of this thing is fucking ugly. They literally took just a DualSense and literally cut it in half. They didn't. There's literally like empty. This looks like it would break very easily.
One thing I just realized: the touchpad and the DualSense.
I would assume that's just touchscreen, then, right?
Yeah, but but that's like a specific button for some games.
Oh,
like,
right,
you
like
need
holding
to do certain
it.
things for it, like swiping on it for maybe. And I'm sure it is a touchscreen, but like, is there gonna be like a little patch somewhere that like acts as the buttons? Because it has two functions to it, and like you can swipe on it, and I have no fucking clue how this is gonna work. But I think what this signals to me is that Sony is they're not really trying. This is not them even attempting to compete with the Nintendo Switch, because everything about this, from it being pretty high quality for what it is, I mean, in terms of a bigger screen, and
it is a bigger screen than the OLED.
And
it's a full
the full functions of the DualSense with haptic feedback and the full controller design and everything. That does not compete with what Nintendo does, because that is designed for play anywhere you want. It's designed for specific kinds of handheld play, and it's gonna be way more expensive. Or like, this might be as expensive as Switch. And so who the fuck is gonna get that instead of a thing that can go anywhere?
I don't think it'll be that expensive. I think it'll be like $150.
Really? Oh, I was seeing 200.
Okay, you're right. Actually, let me think about it. A DualSense right now is 75.
70, yeah.
So the 8-inch screen, I don't know if we know if it's OLED or LCD.
No,
I would
it's
hope
LCD. That's what I heard.
Is it LCD?
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
The fuck is wrong with them?
At least it's 8 inches.
Well, if it's LCD, then maybe it would be a little bit cheaper. Maybe they would be able to get 150.
That's true. We'll see. But
I would assume minimum 150. I would think is safe for this, which is still almost the price of a Switch Lite. I don't think this is eating any of Nintendo's lunch. No.
This thing is not going to sell well.
No.
I also don't think they're going to produce that much of it. To be honest, I think they've recognized this as
It's weird. They've been doing a lot. I mean, obviously, Sony is a tech company first and foremost, but they've pretty much just turned into PlayStation, I would say, over the years.
Yeah.
But with this PS5 generation, they've been releasing so many accessories that I feel like no one cares. Like, they also announced some earbuds yesterday, which actually those look kind of nice, but I don't know what they're doing over there.
Yeah, it's weird.
So,
it's weird.
To answer my own hypothetical question, is this a real competitor for the Switch? Absolutely not.
No,
but I would love if Sony got back into that, because competition is good. Competition is good, and even just the knowing for Nintendo that there is a Steam Deck out there and there is a PlayStation type handheld device,
and everyone's making a fucking Steam Deck these days.
Right? There was the ROG Ally or something.
Yeah.
I imagine Nintendo looks at that and is like, okay. I imagine they're probably not feeling any pressure from anybody about anything. No. Steam Deck, if anything, Steam Deck for sure. But even that,
I like my Steam Deck.
I forgot you had one. Wow.
Yeah, I got it for
Rich
Christmas.
bastard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's because I don't have a PC to play games on. So
True.
I was like, this is just gonna be my less expensive version of a PC.
Dude, I was so tempted. Obviously, I don't have this kind of money to just drop on something like that. But when I was really into Final Fantasy 14 back in February, like first time I've ever played an MMO. I did the first I did the base game of Realm Reborn, and I started Heavensward, and I was like, fuck, dude, this would be so good on the Steam Deck in bed, just doing your little daily quests and shit. Don't think I can drop $500 for that, but
yeah,
that's like a dream. That's like, I would love to have a Steam Deck. I know I would not use it though, so it's just like, if I happen upon one for free somehow. I'm gonna rob you, Tucker.
If I find one for free in your room at night while you're sleeping.
Now, Tucker, I'm very glad I just called this. We're about to get to listener questions. Of course, write in the community posts. But
please, for the love of God.
I'm so happy I remembered this. Tucker, we need to get the fucking Bo Meal review.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
The Taco Bell review. I'm tearing up just thinking about it. Like, honestly, like.
Yeah. Yeah, so for the uninitiated, last week, we started talking about fast food. And both shared that he is a Taco Bell fiend.
Kane Dilly in the comments also agreed. Taco Bell #1.
You know, that means there's just two fiends out there. And the bow meal, I still have it written down in my notes, was a Crunchwrap Supreme, a beefy 5-layer burrito, nacho chips with sauce, Baja Blast, and the nacho fries.
I'm scared by the setup. You sound so unenthused.
I went. But I was not impressed. Bo, Taco Bell is fucking ass. The price is the only thing this fucking thing's got going for it. I was surprised for how much food I got. I got 2 meals out of it.
That was my main point. That was my pitch.
Of course.
Very cheap.
Yeah, but
and for the price, I think the food is pretty good, personally.
I don't know. It wasn't the worst, and I'm not picky when it comes to food. So like, I would eat this again, of course. I'm not saying this was like changed my mind too much, but like maybe I just had too much hope. Because I was like, ooh, maybe like the combination of
we did hype it up for like 30 minutes on last week's podcast.
Yeah, and then and not even that, but I went to go get it when I left the podcast, and then I put it in the Taco Bell app. I drove to the fucking place. On the app, it said it was open. It let me order, and the place was fucking closed. And so I had to get it the next morning. I got my money back.
Okay.
Yes, I got my money back. So I don't know, man. I had like 8 hours to be like, oh man, I'm gonna get this fucking Taco Bell
dreaming
meal.
about it.
Oh yeah, I was salivating, and then it was fine. It was fine, man. It was fine. I was also really tired, so maybe I wasn't in the best mindset for the bow meal.
Disappointed,
but I was disappointed.
I thought you would get me, man.
I'm sorry. This is where you and I do not have the same experience. We think the exact same way about Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. And
you're fancy and you're Raising Canes. Yeah, fuck off.
And you know what, Bo? You know what I did last night? I went to Cane's, baby, and I got myself a 3-finger meal, and I'm like, oh,
yeah. How much you spent? How much you spent? $15. No,
it was like $10. It was like $10.29. Something like that.
Much. Less food though. Less food.
Yes, it was less food. Yes, it was. So I'd give you that, but
because you're right, the Taco Bell bow meal is basically 2 meals. I'd be saving that beefy. Here's the thing, the beefy 5-layer is definitely the worst part of it.
Are we gonna do a fucking Taco Bell talk
every
goddamn week?
But what you do is you save the beefy 5-layer. Now I actually got Taco Bell yesterday or the day before, and I was saving the beefy 5-layer. I did get the bow meal, and then while I was prepping our stream for the PlayStation Showcase, I turned on the stove, and I guess I turned it a little too high, and I put the burrito in the pan. Normally just heat it up for like 10 minutes, something on both sides at like 1 heat. I guess I turned it up to 3. I look over while I was like prepping the thumbnail for the stream. I look over, I just see smoke. That shit was
Jesus
black. So I did have to throw away part of the bow meal.
No.
I was looking over. I was like, oh shit.
All right, Bo. Here's a fucking Nintendo Select's promise here. I think we made more of these in the past, but
I like these. I like these Nintendo Select promises.
Nintendo Select promise.
You're the only one that's made any, I think.
At some point, you and I will eat Taco Bell together, and you will show me how to fucking eat the bow.
How I'll show you how to eat it.
Yeah.
Just
like
how to do it.
We'll go to PAX or we'll do something, and we will eat fucking Taco Bell together.
Yeah, that's a good point for listeners. We've never met in person. I don't even know this man.
Oh yeah,
and maybe I never will.
Maybe I don't even have a bottom half of my body.
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
You never seen my ass.
Yeah, I don't want to, Tucker.
No,
no.
Oh God.
See, this is the first half of the podcast, or like first 2/3, is all business.
It's too serious.
But then we just start talking about Taco Bell. We get loosened up. Start talking about our ass.
You've only slept for like 3 hours. I'm fucking sweating in here. I've got a cat walking around.
I'm also sweating.
Donut in my body
because I can't have my fan on during the pod. All right, let's get into listener questions. Of course, like I said, write in on the community post on YouTube I make every week, or in the Discord, or really anywhere you want. Just tag me on Twitter, I guess. I'll figure it out. We had a couple questions this week, not too many. Golden Boy asked, and I think we kind of covered this last week, but wanted to cover it here. Golden Boy asked, since Tears of the Kingdom feels like such a climax, how do you think Nintendo would handle a possible reboot of Zelda as a whole, new art style, characters, genres, etc.? Well, in the same way that Breath of the Wild was a reboot from Zelda.
Okay,
from Skyward Sword.
I mean, let's just think about Zelda real quick. Basically, every game's a fucking reboot. Tears of the Kingdom and Majora's Mask, and I guess like kind of Link Between Worlds. And like I guess Spirit Tracks, like there are some duologies of games, but Zelda does not need a reboot. Zelda's identity is you do a thing with a guy in a green suit and a guy with a red beard and a woman.
Sure, I think what they're saying is that Ocarina of Time through Skyward Sword were all the same game, not counting 2D in that section. The gameplay design. The gameplay design.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, new characters, I don't think that's gonna happen. In terms of like new main characters, I mean, I guess with this game we had Sonya, so that could be like a thing. Sonya, the girl in the memories.
The queen.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Sorry. So like, every game has its new characters, but not like mainstay characters. I mean, even I think back to like Vadi from Minish Cap and Four Swords. That'd be cool if he would come back, or like was it Yuga in Link Between Worlds?
Yeah, they don't really stick around.
Yeah, sometimes they'll randomly show up in like another one, like another spinoff. But unfortunately, Golden Boy, if you were looking for a reboot of Zelda, Aonuma already said that this is the future. Yep. This gameplay structure is the future, and frankly, that statement, I think we talked about that statement, I think, a little bit last week or the week before. To me, that says that we might even get what I was talking about, a Breath of the Wild 3. I would not be surprised. It would be a new map, absolutely, but I would not be shocked, especially now with all the timeline shenanigans going on right now. Tucker, I know you're not a timeline head. People are pretty upset, actually, with Tears of the Kingdom, because seemingly it is not connected to anything else.
Yeah, the whole Zonai history and everything.
Yeah,
and
definitely fucks with the timeline a little bit. So, I would not be surprised if Breath of the Wild was like kind of just a fresh starting point. And honestly, if they make another game that just follows up on Tears of the Kingdom, I would not be shocked. I don't know where they would go. Maybe space, Tucker?
Yeah. Well, so when I think about the quote of Aonuma saying that like this structure of gameplay is the future of Zelda, what he's referring to is what he's most pleased that they have discovered with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which is the idea that there isn't one specific solution to puzzles. It is emergent gameplay using your understanding of the mechanics to discover your own path forward, multiple solutions to things, and he's very pleased with that. He's like, yeah, looking back, like, okay, one key to one door and one dungeon is maybe not as fun. And I would tend to agree. I know there's certainly people who love the structure of older Zelda games, and as I explore more of those, maybe I'll grow to appreciate it. But I think that when he says that, I don't necessarily think he means open world Zelda, this kind of engine. I would not expect it.
You more so mean you think he means like open-ended puzzle design?
Yes, open-ended puzzle design, absolutely. Okay. And I think that physics-based open-ended puzzles can be placed into other circumstances. I think that a more linear structure, smaller worlds, more akin to like a Sunshine or Odyssey, sort of a bunch of smaller areas. I think that's certainly possible, and I think that would feel distinct enough from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, while also maintaining that design philosophy of free-form puzzle exploration that could be something really cool, kind of a middle ground for Zelda. And I think that's what he means, is using that idea of not having one specific solution to every puzzle.
Sure.
For future Zelda games. Not necessarily that every Zelda game is going to be open world, because I don't think that's necessarily the best idea.
Sure. They definitely need to have some variety in there. That's why I do think the next Zelda game that's not a remake or remaster or port or whatever will be a 2D game, just to wipe the slate clean again. Please, for the love of God. It's been 10 years, actually, for the last new 2D Zelda game. I guess Triforce Heroes, but most people will not count that. I like that game, but most people will not count it.
Do you have friends to play with?
Yeah, I played it with. I had 2 people to play with. I want to replay it again before the 3DS servers inevitably go down. Maybe we get. I know Caleb wants to do it, Tucker. Maybe we can get you in on that.
Yeah,
3-man Triforce Heroes. Also, we also want to play Federation Force.
I'd play that too.
Yeah,
I'd play that too. I would need to get a copy of it though. How much?
It's cheap. It's cheap. It's like $30 maybe.
Well, that's okay.
It's less than retail.
You're saying you're collector cheap.
That's collector
cheap. I've got a weird thing for collecting. I own a lot of games physically. I'm not a collector like you are, and I don't seek out to complete any collections or buy anything expensive. My bar is kind of $25.
Okay.
For if I'm getting an older game physically, and that just means I don't own most of the big stuff. I like collecting for PS3 because PS3 is fucking cheap.
Dirt cheap. Same with 360.
Yeah. Although I don't have a 360 to play my games on, so I don't collect 360 games. But I also like collecting. I love collecting Nintendo stuff, but I don't have.
Well, the issue is most of their stuff is expensive.
Exactly, and you're right. $30 is not that much, but maybe $30 for Federation Force.
If it's less than retail, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
At any point.
All right. If we make a thing out of this, and we're gonna actually play Triforce Heroes and Federation Force,
have a sec. Have a sec. Yeah, Triforce Heroes is cheap. That's like $15, I think. Triforce Heroes is actually cheap.
Oh, speaking of collecting, totally different tangent. My order is on the way. Should arrive by May 30th, 2023, or June 2nd, 2023. I bought a copy of Little Deviants on PS Vita on eBay the other day for $8, complete in box. Why? I don't know. I'm a sick fucking bastard. My collecting brain is every couple months. I'm like, man, I haven't bought a game in a while, and I'm like, what kind of weird shit is cheap? And I'll just like buy 2 or 3 of them and be like, man, I should not buy shit on eBay. This is a really easy way to lose a lot of money.
Oh, I know it.
I mean, I've got shit back there like pack picks, and I bought Sticker Star, but I haven't played that. Fucking Star Fox Command. Like, why am I buying these games? I don't fucking know. But am I gonna play Little Deviants? I mean,
Absolutely
maybe?
not. No, you're not.
Maybe
you're not, dude. I've been trying to get better about that. Last year was crazy for me with how much I fucking bought.
Yeah.
But this year I've been a little bit better. I still be buying though. I still in the background. I haven't done I haven't even gotten enough, I think, to do a pickups video, to be honest, in the past like 2 months. So I've definitely dramatically slowed down. I did, while laying in bed last night, come to the realization that Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen is on Switch. So I did buy that.
What is that? Is it a port of the original game?
Yeah. It's the port with the DLC. So I bought that. Maybe I'll try out Dragon's Dogma. Will I actually try it out? Probably not. It was $20. I was like, you know what? It's weird that got a physical release to me. So I was like, I like Capcom.
I honestly did not know that was on Switch. I gotta be honest. I don't hear anyone talking about fucking Dragon's Dogma. I was surprised when people were like, oh, it's one of the big announcements. Like, really?
Yeah.
Who the fuck? What's the iconic character from Dragon's Dogma?
I care about it because it's Capcom. Basically, here's my collector brain. I'm going for every Nintendo published game, which I'm very close to having on Switch. I think I'm missing like Fitness Boxing and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because I don't have that physically, and like Donkey Kong. It's very. I went for all the weird shit. There's some imports. I want to get Famicom Detective Club because I had like a big box in Japan and didn't have a release here.
Have you played those games, by the way?
I played the first one. No, I haven't. I want to, but the issue is I don't want to spend full price on them digitally. But that's the only way they released here, and the physicals from Japan don't have English on them. So at some point, if I want to play them, I will have to bite the bullet. But they are pricey digitally, and I don't like spending that much money on I wanted to mention that when we were talking about PlayStation. I don't pay a fucking full price for digital games if I can avoid it, because I think you just set yourself up for failure there.
For me, I only do it with indie games.
Sure, and that's fair.
Usually released physically.
Alan Wake 2, actually digital only. Crazy.
Yeah.
Not much to say on it. I was thinking about doing a separate video on it, just ranting about that, because I think that is one of the worst decisions I've seen from a modern publisher in a long time. I get why they're doing it.
And maybe, honestly, they might call it back.
I think they will, because that is one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. People are trying to be like, oh, it doesn't matter. Physical still makes up for like 28% of sales in the US.
Yeah.
It's a lot more than people give it credit for. Obviously, that's just Epic trying to get people to only buy. They make more money if it's sold digitally. This is not about. In their little Q&A, they're like, oh, this is because we want to give you the best deal. It's going to be $60. It's not going to be $70. This is not about them giving you a good deal. This is about them making more money.
This does not cost $10. We know it doesn't.
No.
We're not that stupid.
And the thing that pisses me off, they're obviously just trying to get people to convert to all digital. Like, that's the future. I get it, and that's inevitable. Fucking, if you're a business, games are already expected to be $70.
Yeah.
Just make it $70.
Yeah.
It's very weird. I don't get their messaging. I would not be surprised if they back off on that. Because Alan Wake is already niche enough, I would say. It needs that. It needs the help. But what the fuck were we talking about? Collecting? Yeah, collecting's cool. Oh, publishers. Yeah, I'm going for like Nintendo published games, but also I kind of want to get like Square Enix and Capcom stuff.
Yeah,
basically the stuff I care about. Or
get all this game Square Enix put out last year.
I tabbed most of them. I did just order. GameFly had a sale a couple days ago. I got Tactics Ogre on Switch for $20. Pretty good. Will I ever play it? Probably not. Dusty asked, "Would you rather have a new Golden Sun or F-Zero?" I think in terms of adding more variety to the Nintendo pool, F-Zero would make more sense because Nintendo has a lot of RPGs right now. But fuck F-Zero, I want Golden Sun.
And I'm gonna go on the other side of the coin because I have zero experience with Golden Sun.
I've only played the first one, but I love that game.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot at some point. That's not true. It might be true.
You won't.
We'll see.
You won't.
It's coming to Switch. It's coming to Switch.
It is coming to Switch. Yeah.
Could be cool. But I do think that a modern F-Zero would really be a benefit for Nintendo. I mean, it's been so goddamn.
They don't have a racing franchise. I people like to say Mario Kart. It doesn't count.
No, it's not in the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also that's just kind of a hole right now. I mean, Wipeout and the Fast collection or the what
Fast RMX.
Fast RMX and there's another version of it or something. Those are like trying to fill that hole, but I mean, coming from Nintendo, I think that they could resurrect F-Zero in a big way, frankly. If they put a full budget behind it and they I mean, I'm sorry to whichever developer said it, but you don't need a new idea for F-Zero
Miyamoto said that.
Put it out. Miyamoto, well, fuck you, Miyamoto.
Yeah.
You know what the new idea is?
Making
F-Zero happening.
Yeah.
It's a new idea to put a game in a series and also in a genre that you have not made a core game in multiple decades. So, or getting close to that, scarily close to that. So I would really, really love to see an F-Zero, even though the only one I've played is X. I think I talked about it a little bit a couple weeks ago. I like that game. I'm not the biggest racing guy, but I do think that I trust modern Nintendo. I think they have very few misses, and I think that if they really put their all behind it, they could have a new big racing thing, and they just don't care.
I wish we had been able to see what that EA Criterion developed F-Zero for Wii U would have looked like. If you don't know about that, they had a deal to do one and then it fell through because of the Wii
I've heard
U.
about that.
Yeah. But also I'm sitting here thinking about like a AAA Golden Sun developed by Monolith Soft. I would never want them to work on that. I think they're better than that, to be frank, as much as I love Golden Sun. But just like an open world Golden Sun game, just like Isaac, so fucking good, Tucker.
That could be cool. That I would play the shit out of that.
It'd just basically be like Dragon Quest, but dude, pretty good. All right, this is one I don't know if we actually either of us have an answer for. But I like King Dilly, so I'm gonna include his question no matter what. King Dilly asks, if you could choose one canceled TV series to revive, what would it be? Now, Tucker, you've said you don't really watch TV, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I have an answer for this because I like a lot of TV shows, but most of the ones I like ended up being pretty popular, and then they just ended when they were supposed to. I'm a shameless Walking Dead fan, and that's still going. Well, the main series ended, but all these spinoffs are happening. I'm eating good with these shitty shows.
You still watch them?
I'm not up to date on Fear the Walking Dead, which is on its 8th and final season right now. But I am gonna watch.
The spinoff has 8 seasons.
It does, but I am gonna watch the other spinoffs that are coming out this year. There's a Maggie spinoff and Negan spinoff, so I'm gonna be watching that next month. Oh yeah. So bad. It's so bad, dude. But I'm so deep. And like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are some of my favorite shows. Halt and Catch Fire I ever watched. And typically with these kinds of shows, they end where they want to. In terms of like animated stuff, I was never like a Futurama person. That gets canceled and brought back a lot. Family Guy got canceled and brought back. I don't really care about those. I love King of the Hill.
Canceled?
Yeah, like 2001. and then it brought.
Okay.
Yeah. It got canceled after like 2 seasons, and then it came back.
And now it's just fucking Family Guy.
Yeah, now it's just Family Guy. And American Dad's still going too, I think. These shows don't get canceled. Bob's Burgers doesn't get canceled. King of the Hill, however.
I watched the fucking Bob Burger movie.
Was it good?
That was shit.
Was it? Damn. I liked like the first 3 seasons of Bob's Burgers, but I never watched beyond that. King of the Hill, however, is my favorite of that genre, I would say probably. Also, I love The Simpsons as well. But King of the Hill is coming back kind of begrudgingly. I'm very much on the mindset, let shit just die. It's over.
Yeah.
King of the Hill does not need to come back. I love King of the Hill, and I'm sure it'll be good. Mike Judge is doing it, so I'm sure it'll be fine. But that doesn't happen.
What's interesting about this, and also you can apply the same logic to most franchises. I mean, we just had a question about what canceled franchises would you want to bring back.
The difference is with games, it can be so different. It can be something so new.
No, naturally.
Right.
But what I was going to say is I think people are a little bit hypocritical when they talk about, why doesn't Hollywood / the TV side of Hollywood / video games, why are they always relying on old IP? It's all remakes, it's all reboots, blah, 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 blah. But then they're always like, oh man, bring back all my favorite shit. It's like, yeah, that's why they're fucking doing it. That's why they keep bringing back these IP. Because you guys just won't shut up about bringing back old shit. And then you complain when everything's based on old shit. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain instances.
Shit die. Let shit die.
Yeah, there's definitely there are certain things that definitely should not have been brought back or brought back in a way that they were.
Do you have any specific examples?
Ghostbusters 2016, right? I think that's the famous
fair.
example. But then Ghostbusters Afterlife, I believe, was pretty well liked. I think from what I heard, I didn't watch it. It was fine. But then I don't remember I had another example of something. Oh, I was gonna say something that I still cannot believe this has not been brought back, and I'm very happy it hasn't. Is Back to the Future. How the fuck has a new Back to the Future not been made? I'm so happy, though. I'm so happy. Don't do it, please. It's sacred. Don't do it. And even, but like, Jurassic World, I'm fine with that. That's like a new series. That's like a new step.
Well, until you get to Dominion and you're like, it's actually going to be all the old characters.
I haven't actually seen any of them, but a different name. Different name, so I'm fine with it. But yeah, let stuff die. I'm fine with that. Especially TV shows. I'm especially okay with that dying. Like, I will watch this despite the final season being pretty bad in comparison to the rest of the show. There's a rumor right now. Well, there's plenty of spinoffs already announced, but Game of Thrones has a prequel, which I watched, and it was fine. But there's a rumor that they're going to make a sequel series that basically retcons the final season. And I'm all for that.
Oh, interesting.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Yeah. But you know what the interesting is? I'm also a fucking hypocritical bastard. Because, like, I think about some of my favorite things that haven't been around for a while. Like, I don't know if you'd ever see me again if they made a fucking AAA modern Katamari game. like Keita Takahashi wants this fucking franchise to die. And they won't let it die because they're doing remakes, which I think is the best way to keep these sort of series alive. But the creator wants it to die. But I'm like, no, sorry, Keita. Just give me a modern AAA.
Why does he not like it?
He only did the first game. I think he was involved in We Love Katamari, but he's just like he's not a fan of sequels. I mean, none of his other games have sequels.
Wait, he did what? Wadam?
Watam and Tenya Wanya Teens, which is
never heard of that.
I could go on a fucking, and also Nobi Boy.
I've heard of that.
Kraken's Time Travel Adventure, and now they're working. He's got his new team Uvula.
It's a great name.
I'm stoked. I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind when the next Keita Takahashi game is announced.
That Reroll Reverie is coming out like next week, isn't it?
Yeah, next week. 1 week from today.
Okay.
I've got that coming and my bucket hat. The Capcom, the Namco pre-order comes with the bucket hat.
That's awesome.
Yeah, if you order from the website. So I've got a Katamari. I'm so fucking excited, man. I've also got a plan with a couple other people from games industry Twitter and stuff that are Katamari fans. I'm gonna do sort of a retrospective discussion about why Katamari is so interesting to us. So yeah, look forward to that.
Look forward to that on Backlog Banter, as well as of course his Reroll Reverie impressions on this podcast.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. Are you gonna get that? Have you played Katamari? Do you not like it? It's okay. It's okay. If you don't like it. It's fine.
It's fine. The only Katamari game, Tucker, that I've played in any real depth is Tap My Katamari on iPhone.
You know that, you bastard. Nah. Oh, by the way, did you know there's 6 defunct Katamari mobile games? 6.
I did not know that. I've only. Do you know what I'm talking about? It was like an idle clicker game.
Yes. Yeah. I played that as well. It's gone. There are actually at least 2 since then that are now on
also, wow. It was like years ago. It was like probably 6 or 7 years ago. I played a little bit of Katamari Damacy. It's one of those franchises that, like, I watched Game Grumps play it when I was like 14 or whatever. And I love the art style and the zany wackiness going on. But I actually tried playing it last year, or at the end of last year, and it was fine. I don't know if I am interested enough to like actually sit down and finish one of those games, but they're fun. I respect
anyone to do it with. It would be Will of Katamari because that is the more interesting structurally.
Is it?
There's much more level variety. Like concept variety. The levels are a lot different. So I know I'm the Katamari head, and I'm gonna tell everyone to go play.
You're
gonna
convince me.
Wheel of Katamari Reroll is probably the best time that's ever been to get into the series. To be 100% honest, and I don't even know what the Royal Reverie is. I have no fucking clue.
$30?
So
was it 30?
No, I don't know what Royal Reverie means.
No, I know. I'm saying is the game $30?
Oh, the game is $30. Yeah.
I might. When it's 20, I might.
Gotta support I sent you $10.
If I say
that makes it 20.
That could buy a bow meal though.
No, wait. What if it buys 1/3 of Katamari Damacy? Katamari, We Love Katamari Reroll plus Royal Reverie. Please.
Black Friday, $20. It'll be there.
That's a good point.
All right, final question from Ben Pie. I'm not sure how to take this here. What game do you want to see as a movie? What movie do you want to see as a game? So let's take this one step at a time here. What game do we want to see as a movie? I'm gonna be honest. I don't think there's very many Nintendo franchises I want to see as movies. Obviously, when we're in the context of like, the Mario movie's a success, we talk about franchises that we think fit the best. But if we're talking about like on a broader scale, I feel like most of the ones that make sense have already been adapted. I'm trying to think of like Sony first party stuff.
I mean, Sony stuff, most of it I think would make pretty cool.
Right, we're getting a Ghost of Tsushima movie. I think that could be pretty cool.
We are, yeah. Directed by the John Wick director. So
yeah,
goddamn.
Yeah, that could actually be really good.
I've got a poll.
Okay.
I would.
Katamari Damacy movie.
No.
Low key.
No. You have no fucking idea how crazy I would go for an Overwatch animated movie.
Oh, okay,
Tell a
sure.
story. Use that quality
Sure.
Blizzard animation in those goddamn in the shorts. That is a solid chance if they ever make that to be one of my favorite movies of all time. Overwatch is such a great story. The character's so interesting. The combat's so awesome. The shorts are so amazing. If you tell like a contained story that like pushes the narrative forward, and you get the fucking voice actors from the games, I don't even know. Yeah,
that could be good.
Oh man.
I think in a podcast in the past here, I think I said something negative about the idea of Splatoon movie. To be honest, that was a crazy take on my part. I think a Splatoon movie could actually be pretty cool.
Yeah.
From Nintendo, of course, animated, for the love of God. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Live action Splatoon.
Oh no, they would not do that.
The CGI of them transforming into a squid.
Yeah. Jesus.
I'm trying to think of like other bigger like third-party franchises though. I mean, I think anything from From Software could be really cool as like maybe a Netflix anthology type series, maybe, or like not a movie. I don't know if that'd be a good movie. Like a Bloodborne series or something. I think there's actually a rumor right now of a Bloodborne anime.
Really?
Happening.
But like, there's not characters.
There is, but it's all in the lore, Tucker.
I mean, I know I played, but I love Bloodborne. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But like,
yeah.
I guess if you're,
the world is
I guess if it's only in the world of these games.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the exact plot developed from.
Yeah, okay,
Bloodborne. It would be like in the world of Bloodborne.
Yeah, then I mean the world of, God, that's what's right for story. So yeah, sure, absolutely.
Also, something I just realized, which I'm sure probably would have happened if Kojima didn't get cucked. A Metal Gear Solid movie, that makes a lot of sense, right?
There's what happening. Oscar Isaac is Snake. This was like 2 years ago.
Are you fucking kidding me? Oscar Isaac is Snake? Yes. Why?
He's excited for this. Oscar Isaac can't wait to be Solid Snake.
You're blowing my mind.
You didn't know about this?
I had never even heard of this.
I don't know if Kojima's involved. Though he does want to get into making movies. He's always talking about how he wants to make movies. Because he already basically does make
Adam
movies.
Sandler's in it?
Adam Sandler?
When I search Metal Gear Solid movie, the cast shows Oscar Isaac as Solid Snake and then just says Adam Sandler.
That's got to be a joke. Someone probably
added
the fucking Wikipedia or whatever.
I don't know, though. You never know. Maybe maybe Adam Sandler's going to play Psycho Mantis.
Okay, Oscar Isaac says something is holding back the movie, but it's in development. Sure. We're closer to a Metal Gear movie right now than we ever have been.
Sure.
Someone is cast as Solid Snake.
I didn't know it was Oscar Isaac. That's fucking awesome.
It's crazy. I'm so excited for that.
But yeah, I think the easy answer is just anything that Sony does, because those games are already movies.
Yeah.
And then, what movie do you want to see as a game? I think I have the correct answer for this.
Lego Parasite.
Yes.
For me, the answer is what's already happening, but Avatar.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Ubisoft is making a fucking giant open world Avatar game, and
first-person Far Cry clone.
Fucking wait.
It's gonna be fantastic.
I cannot wait for that. I love Avatar so much.
I still need to see Way of Water, but
Way of Water is so good. Oh, I love that movie. I've seen it 3 times. Oh,
have you really?
Yeah, so good. Borat game.
Borat game. Well, to be fair, this IP, this movie franchise does have a game, but
yeah,
I'm not.
Many do.
But I'm not gonna count this because it's not what I think of when I would think of a game adapted from this movie. John Wick. It makes so much sense. Yeah. Obviously, we had John Wick Hex from Bithell Games, which I have not played. That was more like a story-driven, choice-driven kind of like stealth game, wasn't it?
I don't know. I thought it was like a puzzle game.
Sure, yeah, something like that. But I think of not even the Hitman style John Wick game, which I mean that could also work.
He's not stealthy though.
Exactly. I can imagine IO making a John Wick game and using like their Hitman kind of template.
Why aren't they doing James Bond?
They are doing a 007 game. Yeah. But taking what they learned from Hitman and making it not stealth, basically. Obviously it'd be hard. You'd almost have to develop it and its combat like they developed the Batman Arkham games or Spider-Man and just make it like the super frenetic, like combo driven shooter. I don't know how you would do it, but it'd be fucking
there combo driven shooters?
I don't think so. You know what I mean though? Like melee combat with a gun. There's not much like that.
Oh sure. Kind of actually like Bayonetta plays in Smash. Like
sure.
She had her melee attacks are extended by bullets.
Sure.
So imagine
but Devil May Cry has guns also.
Sure. Oh, sure. Yeah.
And the actual Bayonetta game. So.
I played all those games.
Yeah.
That's a true fact about me. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I want to see a animated guy who looks like Keanu Reeves move like Bayonetta does, but I think that you're right. I think that in terms of getting it to somewhat match the like frenetic pacing of that combat, I don't think a methodical shooter.
No, of course not.
For John Wick.
No, it would have to be
this
fast-paced.
This motherfucker has, and also, you know what? We're designing a John Wick game right now, and this is gonna sound terrible, but if you want it to be accurate to the game or to the movies, he can't die. There's no way to die in this game. He has this dumbass fucking Kevlar vest that he holds up like Dracula, and it blocks everything. It blocks every bullet. Sometimes he'll get a little bit of like a bruise on his knuckles, but you can't get hurt in this game. In my ideal John Wick game, this guy is invincible.
You see him get bloodier, but he doesn't die.
Can't die.
They give you like
fail state.
Yeah, they make it feel like you're about to die, but then you just never do. Did you see they uploaded a 10-hour cut of John Wick rolling down the stairs?
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, that's a great scene,
dude. I was dying in the theater. No one. I felt like I was like doing something wrong because I was laughing. I don't really laugh during movies. I kind of I want to be quiet for the audience. I'm not like forcing myself. Just instinctually I kind of be quiet. I was dying at that, and then everybody around me was just sitting there like. And I'm just like, why aren't you laughing? This is the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen. That movie's so good, Tucker.
That movie's so fucking good.
Are you gonna watch the Paramount Plus show?
No.
Who is?
I'll watch Ballerina. That's coming to theaters.
Yeah, that's next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Tucker. We've talked long enough. I'm sick of you.
Oh,
we're done.
Give me a week. Give me a week.
Give me a week. I'll be back. Do you have any final thoughts here before we end off this episode of the Nintendo Select Podcast?
Oh, Tucky. Nintendo's dead. I'll never buy another Nintendo game. Oh no, wait, that's Sony. Oh wait.
Well,
Pikmin 4.
I will say, I think next week, Tucker, I'm expecting kind of a slow news week, to be honest. So if you made it to this part of the podcast, leave questions down below pertaining to the next Nintendo Direct. I think I'm going to theme the next episode around predicting when that's going to happen and really accurately trying to depict what we think is going to release. We've done topics and like questions about like, oh, what games do you want to see this year? But I think we're going to like actually sit down and like plan it out, figure out what's going on with the Switch for the rest of the year, maybe even a little bit into next year. So if you have any questions about that specifically, let us know. But yeah, I'm gonna go eat some breakfast. I literally woke up and immediately started recording, so I'm very hungry. It's 2 p.m. now.
Good.
Of course, subscribe here so you don't miss any more uploads, or maybe some Pokemon League live streams, as I tend to do these pretty often on accident. And love us, rate us, rank us on Spotify. Yeah, love us on Spotify.
Rank us, love us, leave us. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going off the rails, buddy.
And of course, you can follow us on Twitter at these beautiful little tags. I try to like point over to your screen, but I can't go over there.
Here. Actually, hold on. Can we? Oh, here. Let's put your arm.
Oh, I see. It's connected.
See, there you go.
There you go. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.